Welcome, everyone. This is your friend, the DN What If, here with another exciting fanfiction. Today, we're diving into the story of What If Deku Has a Twin Brother with the Same Dreams? If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fanfiction content just like this. Now, let's get started with the fanfic. It was a sunny day, a perfect day for the kids to have some fun playing around with their friends. But not all of them. Izuku's hand held his clothes tightly prevent them from shivering further. His eyes already formed some tears. He stood in front of a boy who cried behind him as he was beaten up by the trio bullies. That's mean, Kaken. Izuku started, his voice almost broke. See, can't you see he's crying? Izuku then stood in fighting stand, still his body shaking. If you keep going, I'll never forgive you. Katsuki and his followers were dumbfounded at first hearing those words from Izuku. Katsuki then just snorted as his followers activated their quirks. Even though you're quirkless. He then made a fist on his hands and smashed it to the other to create a small explosion, smiled in annoyance. You're pretending to be a hero, Deku? Izuku shrieked a bit. The trio charged towards Izuku to beat him as well. Izuku closed his eyes tightly, prepared for the impact but... That's weird. Shouldn't he get hit by now? Izuku then opened his eyes to see what exactly just happened. His eyes widened when he saw another person who resembles Izuku himself a lot stood protectively in front of him. Izuku glanced a bit at the trio who were now lay on the ground, hissing by their new injury. Aniki! Izuku exclaimed, felt relief that his brothers saved him in time. Katsuki was shocked when he saw another Midoriya in front of him who sent him a murderous glare. YYN. The said boy then used his quirk to lift countless of rocks from the ground, prepared to hit he trio any moment. You scums get out of here before I make you all crawling back home. A voice similar to Izuku but a bit deeper said as some of the flames went out of his mouth. Without a second thought, two of Katsuki followers ran away as fast as they could, not wanting to anger the green-haired male further. Katsuki on the other hand just stared at the male, eyes still widened. Well, Katsuki? Why become impatient? Katsuki clicked his tongue, a bit upset that, didn't call him, Kaken, showing that he was extremely mad at him. He then get on his feet and started to walk away from them. Sighed heavily, all the rocks fell to the ground. He turned to face Izuku who stared at him in awe. Patted some of the dirt at his younger twin's clothes and wiped his tears away. Geez, Izu. You need to stop hang out with Kaken. He doesn't even treat you well. Izuku hung his head down. He had to admit that what his brother said was true. He mumbled quietly but his brother heard it. I'm sorry. Why do you need to sorry, Izu? It's Kaken's fault for doing that. Forget that. Let's go home, okay? Izuku nodded. The boy that he protected thanked both of them and went back home. Both Izuku and walked home, hand in hand together. Izuku glad that his brother still be kind towards him although he is quirkless. He did not even jealous of He even admire his older twin as his idol. But the older twin did not think the same. He always blame himself for having quirks instead of Izuku. He was once blame his existence only to be denied by his younger twin. Aniki, don't say like that. Don't always blame yourself. It's not your fault that I don't have any quirk. If you are not here, I don't think I can go through everything by myself. Because you're here that I can be strong. Wine stopped walking when he remembered those words. The younger twin also stopped since they both still holding hands together. Izuku glanced at his brother in question. Aniki. Izuku. No matter what. Even without a quirk, I guarantee that you will be a great hero. Trust me on that. Years have passed, the Midoriya twins already grown into a middle school student. The alarm rang for several times. The green-haired male used his quirk to stop the alarm. He was about to continue his cozy nap only to be disturbed by the sound of his door opening. Aniki, get up. We have school today. Izuku, who already in his uniform, called the older twin. Pine groaned and took the blanket to cover his whole body including his head. 5 more minutes. Izuku sighed and went to Wyan, poking his brother. Aniki. We have few minutes left before the school start. And we don't want to get detention again like the last time. Both Izuku and Wine had been went to detention for the older twins' behavior. Usually, it's because they were late for the class. And by late is very late. Izuku already used to it though. They both also got detention for other case. There was once they both get detention for, Wine, beating up the students who bullied Izuku. Izuku insisted to get detention as well, one time when Wine, rebel against his teacher, who is now not teaching them anymore, for separate them into different class purposely and saying that, Wine, could not always be with his quirkless brother. The idea of separating the class did not bother him much. What made Wine snapped is that the teacher told him that his brother is quirkless. Of course, when Wine gets detention, Izuku will go too as well. Okay, I'm up. Wine immediately took his towel and went to the bathroom. Izuku just smiled at his brother. He then went downstairs to wait for the older twin. Izuku, this is fine, already up? Inko asked when she saw Izuku. Yeah. Aniki will be ready in any minute. After they managed to have time to see the heroes taking down the villain, both of them went to the school and go to their separate class. Wine sat down on his seat and took out his notebook, a hero analysis notebook just like Izuku. They both will always share the information together. There are some info where Izuku take note while the other, Wine, managed to get. The combination of their information made their notes complete with various knowledge of the heroes. If anyone sees their notebook, they might thought that they stole the info from any organization or something. So, Midoriya, taking notes from the earlier villain attack, huh? One of his classmates greeted him. Yeah. There's a new hero appeared and I need to write everything I remembered before I forget something. Wine smiled at his classmate, putting his hand at the back of his head. They then let Wine with his notes, not wanting to disturb him since they understand that he need to write everything down first. After he finished write about the hero, he kept the notebook and took out the other one. This one he never showed to anyone, even Izuku never seen it. Villain analysis notes. He started to open the page and wrote down about the villain. Unlike Izuku, Wine was interested in villains more than the heroes. Do not get it wrong, Wine does admire heroes, especially All Might. He didn't have any bad grudge against them. It's just that villains also have their amazing quirk that caught the older twins' interest. He was once thought that if these villains aimed to be different, they would have been great pro-heroes. And because of that he started to wonder why they become a villain in the first place. At the other class not far from Wine, Izuku also wrote down everything that he remembered in his notes. Since you're all the third years, it's time for you to think seriously about your future. I'll pass out the handouts for your future plans now, but you're all pretty much planning to go into the hero course, right? Then almost all of the class activated their quirks, agreeing to their teacher. Obviously, everyone wanted to take that course. Don't lump us all in the same group. I'm not gonna be stuck at the bottom with the rest of these rejects. Katsuki, who casually lay his legs on the desk, clearly looking down to all of his classmates. That was uncalled for, Katsuki. Yeah. Katsuki just smirked at them. You all should shut up like the extras you are. Oh, if I remember correctly, you want to go to UA High, right, Bakugo? The teacher asked. UA? That national school? It was in the top 0.2% this year, you know. Their acceptance rate's always really low too. That's exactly why you guys are just extras. Katsuki continued, I aced the mock test. I'm the only one at this school who could possibly get into UA. I'll definitely surpass All Might and become the top hero. My name will be inscribed on the list of top earners. The teacher couldn't handle his babbling, so he just continued for another student who also applied for the same school. Oh yeah, Midoriya wanted to go to UA too, right? If I'm not mistaken, your brother also applied there too. This shocked the entire class, especially Katsuki. The whole class then laughed at him. Midoriya? No way. You can't get into the hero course just by studying. If it's your brother, of course he can. Izuku stood up, trying to told everyone, they got rid of that rule. There's just no precedent dash. Without he notice, Katsuki used his explosion to break Izuku's desk, sending him to the back of the class. Hey Deku. You're below the rejects. You're quirkless. Unlike Ryan, he is strong enough to be the same level as me. How can you even stand in the same ring as us? No, wait, Kaken. It's not like I'm trying to compete with you or anything. Believe me. Izuku looked down for a moment, remembered that it was his and his brother's dream of going to UA together. It's just that it's been our goal ever since we were little. And well, that I won't know unless I try. This said Katsuki even more. What do you mean, unless you try? Are you taking the test for fun? What the hell can you do? You're quirkless. Out of nowhere, the classroom door suddenly opened with a beep. All of the class attention went to the door, seeing another Midoriya who stomped towards Katsuki straight. All of the obstacles in front of him pushed aside using his quirk, resulting them to float into the air. The students who sat on the floating chair just screamed while holding their chair as if their life depended on it. Oh no, he must have heard from his class. This is really not good. Izuku thought worriedly, seeing the death glare his brother has right now is totally not a good sign. Katsuki, who saw this too, just stood there looking at the older twin with a bit worry. He forgot about the other Midoriya, which is why he carelessly shouted whatever his stupid mouth just said. Another teacher also appeared at the front door. Panic is shown all over her face. Midoriya, Ryan. Do not use your quirk in the class. The said male didn't care. All he cared about now is this spiky-haired male that he wanted to give him what he deserves. Now, Katsuki, the flames went out of his mouth. You're being a terrible young man to my little brother right now. You do know what that means. All of the stationery came out of each of the students' case, pointing towards Katsuki. As all them were about to attack him, which can cause Katsuki to send to hospital, since there were also scissors, Izuku quickly held his brother's hand in attempt to calm him down. Aniki, stop. Surprisingly it worked. Ryan then faced Izuku, still have that murderous eyes but softened a bit when he saw Izuku. It's okay, Aniki. Kaken didn't do anything. See? I'm fine. Seeing his younger brother did not hurt anywhere, he dropped everything that under his quirk down. Not in a nice way though. So some of the students fell to the ground. Ryan just scoffed in annoyance but already calmed himself. Midoriya, YN. Detention after school. Author note. This is the Banha fanfic was first published on year. I have decided to rewrite this fanfic and continue until the end of the story. From the old version of the fanfic, it has already reached up until almost final episode of season 2. I would need time to go through them and rewrite a bit. The old version of the plot will not be changed. The Wattpad will get updated first and then I will update on AO3 on the same day chapter text. The sound of the laugh can be heard in the entire room of the younger twin. Both young Izuku and Ryan watched the old video of All Might saving the people. Their eyes shone brightly each time they watched the video repeatedly. Inko, who stood at the door quietly, just smiled at her sons. He is so cool. Izuku exclaimed, raising up his All Might figure high. His older brother also did the same. I wanna be just like him. Izuku turned to his twin with a determined smile. Aniki. Someday, we will be a great hero just like All Might. Yes, Izu. I'm sure of it. We will go to UA together and then become the legendary twin heroes. You and me, Izu. The legendary twin heroes. That sounds really awesome, Aniki. Izuku then jumped to Ryan to give him a hug, which made both of them fell from their seat. The twins then laughed happily and started to run around the room pretending to be like the hero that they watched on the laptop. Every day, the twins will play the scene from the video along with Inko, who played as a victim over and over. Never they found the play to be bored. To add up more fun, they decided that someone should take the role as a villain. Since Ryan finds that Izuku was a bit scared to take the role, he then insisted that he should be the villain. The older twin held Inko in his small arm, one hand form a pistol like beside her head as if he's holding the gun at her. Inko pretended to be scared, so she screamed for help. Save me, hero. Ryan tried to make a villain laugh at his first try, but failed miserably. But when each time they play the same scene, he eventually managed to make it sound realistically just like a real one. Now, hero, what are you going to do now? The older twin smirked at the younger twin. Izuku made a pose first, which almost made Wayne wanted to laugh since it's actually pretty cute and funny to watch. No need to be fear, young lady. Because I am here. You should probably give it up. The news shocked both of the twins. The All Might figure that Izuku held fell from his hand. The older twin clenched his fists tightly, clearly could not accept them. No way this could happen. This must be a mistake. Wayne raised his voice, not too loud so that it won't cause any ruckus. Inko calmed Chen down before facing back to the doctor. Is something wrong with him? Most of the other kids' quirks have already manifested, including his brother. He's the only one. The doctor then asked Inko, "Excuse me, but you're the fourth generation, right, ma'am? May I ask about your quirk?" "Yes, of course. I can pull small objects to me. My husband can breathe fire. And, here can control any kind of objects around him and breathe fire too." Inko explained. Wayne used his quirk, without even use his hand to take the All Might figure and held it to his hand. The doctor then explained to them that one of the proofs showing that Izuku is surely quirkless by the early research is that he has 2 joints based on the X-ray result. This information had made the whole Midoriya family shocked and unable to accept it. At that night, the same video is played repeatedly in Izuku's room. Inko just watched her younger son from the door, held her hand on her chest. "Mom." Inko turned fully to face Izuku, who called her. He saves everyone with a smile, no matter what trouble they're in. He's such a cool hero. The chair turned from the laptop to Inko, who saw her quirkless son shivering, pointing his finger to the paused video that showed All Might smile. Inko could not bear to see her son like this. "Can I be a hero too?" She slowly walked to Izuku, and when she reached to him, she hugged him tightly and cried. "I'm sorry, Izuku. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." What both of them didn't notice is that the older twin heard everything from the outside. Tears flowing non-stop on his face, he gritted his teeth and clenched his fists tightly. He held his head down as he went back to his room. When he closed the door of his room, some of the objects in his room broke. Wayne smashed the wall with his fist, ignoring the pain. He doesn't deserve this. It's not fair. He wanted to be a hero more than anything else. Wayne then slowly slid down to the ground, his body started to shake. And here I am, having both of our parents' quirks. It's just not fair. I rather that I'm the one who should be quirkless, not Aizu. Wayne cried as he held both of his hands to his face. It was very painful to see that your own twin doesn't have what most of the people have, moreover when you're the one who have them, both of the quirks from your parents. What did Izuku ever did to not even have a single quirk? What did he? Aniki. Wayne then held up his head immediately when he heard his brother called him. Izuku stood at the door of his room, still having the same face as before. Wayne quickly wiped his tears and went to Izuku. "Yes, Aizu? I'm sorry about the mess. I'll clean it, you dash. See, can I be a hero, Aniki?" The older twin's eyes widened. He was too shocked to say anything. So Izuku asked him more. "Can we still be the legendary twin heroes?" "The legendary twin heroes, huh?" Wayne, who currently on the detention tapping his pencil on his notebook while remembering those memories back. Izuku wanted to accompany him, but the older twin refused, saying that Izuku should help their mother or something. So, Wayne, here alone in the empty classroom with a teacher who busy doing her job on her laptop. He then continued to draw and write down about their future self with the title at the top, The Legendary Twin Heroes. As the class ended, Izuku scrolled down the news at his phone before he packed all of his stuff to go back home. The incident this morning is all over the headlines. I want to hurry up and go home so I can write it down in my notebook and then share with Aniki when he gets home. Just as he was about to put his notebook into his bag, a hand snatched it from his. Izuku glanced up to see Katsuki, who took the notebook from him. "Give it back," Izuku pleaded. Katsuki just ignored him, exploding his notebook in process and threw it to the window. "I want a shine of being able to be called the only student to make it into UA from this mediocre city junior high school. I mean, I'm perfectionist. But I guess having Wayne Going to UA as well won't be bad since he deserve it after all. But you're totally on different stand than both of us. Katsuki put his hand on his shoulder, some smoke appeared. So anyway, don't apply to you, nerd. Katsuki then left Izuku, his followers walked at his back, making fun of Izuku since, wine, is not present. If he does, they three already straight went to the hospital. Before Katsuki leave the classroom, he turned a bit at his back. If you want to be a hero that badly, there's a quick way to do it. Believe that you'll be born with a quirk in your next life and take a last chance dive off the roof. And just like that they left Izuku alone. Izuku walked to the back of his school in attempt to search for his notebook that Katsuki just threw heartlessly. Idiot. If I really jumped, that would mean you instigated a suicide. Think before you speak. Izuku furiously thought, clenching his bag tightly as if to release his anger on it. His thoughts stopped when he spotted his notebook on the pond. Izuku took his notebook that is now drenched. He gritted his teeth, still angry at Katsuki. He can't just do that to someone who didn't even disturb his life. Izuku just stared at his notebook for a moment. He then calmed himself a bit when he thought about his brother's smile. Even though he is way more stronger than anyone else. He never treat me like everyone did. Aniki is really cool. I'm really glad that he is my twin. The sludge villain attacking Izuku has been skipped since the author couldn't bear to write Izuku's suffer any further. Izuku never expected this. Surely, he knew that everyone will told him the same answer. But he just hoping that maybe it will be different if he ask him. The person he admired the most, All Might, who right now is a skeleton-like man, stood in front of him. Izuku was totally shocked when he saw him at first. He thought that All Might went to somewhere else and use another person as to replace him. But that was not the case. All Might is fearless. He saves everyone with a smile. He's the greatest. I cannot simply say, you can become a hero even without power. And that's just simple statement left on the person he look up since he was young managed to give a large impact on Izuku. If you want to help others, then you could also become a police officer. They're often teased because they get villains delivered to their doorstep, but that is also a fine occupation. It's not bad to dream. But you also have to consider what's realistic, young man. All Might left Izuku along with his hope. Izuku, no matter what, even without a quirk, I guarantee you can be a great hero, trust me on that. His hope didn't left him. His brother, the strong person, even said that to him. His brother will not lie to him. I wonder what Aizu is doing now at home? Wine, who were walking at the side of the street, just finished his detention and right now on his way to get back home. He walked lazily as he read the notebook that he just wrote it during his detention. Aizu must be happy when he sees this. We should started to create dash. Suddenly he heard an explosion at the building not far from him. He turned his head and went to that place where most of the people gather there. A villain attack? Maybe Aizu is already there. No matter, I will go and look anyway. Wine ran towards the incident. He tried to get through to the crowd by squishing himself. When he managed to make it to the front, his eyes widened at the sight before him. Kaken. Then, without knowing, his legs moved on their own, making him ran towards the sludge villain who held Katsuki. When Mine went out, he also spotted another him doing the same thing. Aizu. Aniki. Instead of talking how on earth did they went out of the crowd doing something that could be called crazy, the twins just continued to run and go ahead to save their childhood friend. What? There's two of that young boy. All Might was surprised to see two of the boy he just met at the top of the building appeared out of the crowd. From the looks of it, one of him must have quirks since he used the damaged parts and used his fire breath on them before sending to the sludge villain, careful enough not to hit the victim. He done this multiple times, so the sludge villain started to have less and less of its liquid. Meanwhile, for the other one, he threw his bag to hit the villain and then tried to get the victim out. Clearly that one is the one who he said those cruel words not long ago. What's surprising him more is that the words that the twins said, though one of them tried to smile and the other looked more serious. You look like you were asking for help. Then almost immediately, All Might changed to his built form self and charged towards the villain, much to the twins' surprise. All Might. Both of them said in unison. Even though I admonished you, I wasn't putting what I said into practice. What is he talking about? The older twin looked at the number 1 hero, confused at what he just said. Pros are always risking their lives. Some blood went out of his mouth as All Might exclaimed. Detroit Smash. All Might managed to save Katsuki and captured the sludge villain. The weather changed for a moment, making everyone amazed to the symbol of peace. Izuku was getting mad by the pro heroes for going out recklessly. Wine was getting praised by them for his amazing quirk and how he managed to hold down the villain. He didn't seem to buy their praise though. He thought that Izuku deserved more since he only used his strength to save Katsuki. Katsuki, on the other hand, getting praised by the pro heroes as well for his bravery and of course, for his quirk. For a moment, Wine's bright green eyes suddenly turned dull. He somehow doesn't like the way those heroes nagging at Izuku and praising him and Katsuki. All they think is about quirks, huh? He tightened his grip. Is that how the world works? Everything is judged by quirks. Before I could think about it any further, or maybe worse, a hand was lending in front of him, making Wine look up to see the owner of the hand. The person held a smile that even the older twin couldn't manage to do the exact same one. Let's go home, Aniki. I wanted to apologize to All Might. But he was still getting interviewed. Izuku seemed a bit depressed. Yn's eyebrows furrowed when he heard this. Why do you need to apologize to him? If it's about going out there to save Kaken, you don't need to. No. Not that. It's a long story, Aniki. Izuku tried to drop the topic. He remembered what All Might had warned him about his condition. But maybe Aniki can keep it a secret too. Just as he was about to open his mouth, they heard someone called the twins from behind. Deku. Yn. Kaken. Yn turned to the owner of the voice and found it weird to see Katsuki ran towards them with panic. To see him almost out of breath, he must have been running all his way to here. Listen. I never asked you both for help. And you guys didn't help me, got it? I was fine by myself. Izuku just stared at him with confuse. His eyes blinked for few times to comprehend what Katsuki tried to say to them. Wine just smirked when he heard this. He put one of his hand on his hip. Are you trying to make me owe you? Don't look down on me. You dash. You wanted to say, thank you, right Kaken? The older twin cut him. Katsuki's face was red of embarrassment. He chatted to them and then turned away from them, walked to another direction. Shut up. Izuku, who still dumbfounded with the situation, turned to his brother for the explanation. His twin just shrugged, smirk didn't leave on his face. You know Aizu, Kaken is actually a not-so-straight person when it comes to being grateful. Not so straight? Aniki, isn't that mean? Wine closed his brother's mouth with his hand. Whatever you're thinking about, that would be ridiculous. What I mean is that Kaken can't be honest with his feelings since he has a big ego. The older twin sighed, released his hand from his brother. But honestly, I'm actually jealous of you and Kaken. Why do you say that, Aniki? Izuku already lost. He sometimes can't understand his brother at all. His brother always jumped one topic to another, then jumped back to the earlier topic. The way you both have nicknames. Kaken for Katsuki and you with Deku. Sure, the name is not a good in terms of the meaning, but still. I want to have a nickname too. You both just out of nowhere give nicknames since we were kids without me. Why? Izuku just sweat dropped seeing his brother like this. Aniki, that's not something you should be jealous of. It's decided. Izuku couldn't manage to finish his sentence. Wyan put his hand on both of his shoulder. Aizu, you can go home first. Your Aniki will have an important talk with Kaken. Okay? And just like that, Wyan quickly went towards the direction where the blonde male just went. Izuku just laughed at his brother's behavior. Aniki can be weird sometimes. Izuku was about to walk his way to home, only to stopped by a familiar figure in front of him. I am here. All Might. Why are you here? You were surrounded by the reporters just now. All Might, who appeared in all glory, just laughed like usual. Getting away from them was a piece of cake. Because I am all dash. He turned back to his skeleton form. Izuku screamed out of panic and worry about his idol. All Might assured him to calm him down. He started, "Young man, I come with thanks, a correction and a suggestion. If you hadn't been there, if you hadn't told me about your life, I would have turned into a guy in a bodysuit who was all talk." "Thank you. That can't be. It was my fault in the first place. I got in the way of your work. And it was actually a Nikki dash. That is not important, young man. You have acted out there just like those real heroes would have acted. And because of you, that I finally realized something. You can become a hero." Izuku felt his tears started to form on his eyes and flow across his cheek. He held his chest tightly with his hands. He remembered the day when he was little, the day he asked his brother, "Can we still be the legendary twin heroes?" Wine, eyes widened, he too already had tears on his face. He hugged his younger brother in his arms. Izuku could feel his body shaking. He was about to put his arms around his older brother but halted when he heard what Wine said. Those words that enough to make the little Izuku who only have his tears that showed his sadness to cried loudly, making Inko went to upstairs back to her kids. "Yes, Izuku. The greatest of all of them, I promise. Extra. By the way, young man, are you sure you're quirkless?" "Yes, I am. What makes you say that, All Might?" "Well, the incident earlier, I saw there's two of you saving that young boy. Or am I just delusional?" Awkward laugh. "That is actually my twin." "Wait, you're the one that I talked at the top of the building, right?" "It's okay, All Might. It is me." All Might sighed in relief. It would have been awkward if he encountered with another twin. He would even be called a crazy strange man. Wine sat on his bed in his bedroom, writing down about the sludge villain that attacked Katsuki earlier. While waiting for his dear brother to come back, he decided it would be a good idea to write them down so that Izuku wouldn't find out about his notebook. From the looks of it, his body is completely a liquid-like which can be separated and combined to its will. When I tried to use the damaged parts of the building, it didn't help that much actually. His body is a build of liquid mud, so he is immune to physical attacks. Since Kaken was the victim of his, he probably used him as the vessel for him to take over. But isn't it painful? And how long does it take for him to completely have a control over the person's body if he succeed? If so, then he can control their quirks as well. Wine continued to mumble as he wrote every point of them. And by the time he finished, he opened the previous pages of the book and started to go to his desk to open his laptop. I wonder if this guy is involved with them. He opened the site which showed the result of his search. Search, the League of Villains. No results found. Do you mean League of Legends? The green-haired male hummed for a moment and then sighed in disappointment. There's still nothing much about them. This is difficult to get their information. Wyan hanged his head at the back of the chair. Even the event of 5 years ago didn't come out. The only that came out is about the villain called Toxic Chainsaw defeated by All Might. To think that great fight wasn't made public. 5 years ago. Wyan was 9 years old. He was lost after trying to find his younger brother at the city they went to visit together. He called his brother's name. Calling him would have been a good idea, but when he called him, a voice message was heard instead of the twins' voice. Aizu, where are you? Aniki is right here. Although Wyan himself already lost, he didn't stop searching for Izuku. He even tried to lift some cars at the street just to see him. Unfortunately, he didn't. Then, Wyan saw a stray cat that looked hurt at the alleyway. It looked like it just had a fight with other cats and there's 2 small holes from the bite. Hey, you're hurt. Wyan wanted to treat the cat, but as he approached the cat slowly and reached for it with his hand to pat it, the cat hissed at him and went away. Why most animals being hostile towards him? Wyan being like any other young boy for his age, chasing after the cat in hopes that the cat know his good intention to take care of it, not knowing the area he had crossed had several warning signs. Not long after, the older Midoriya twin realized that he was already at some abandoned place of the city. But suddenly, his phone vibrated much to the little boy's surprise. He startled a bit for a moment before answered the call. It was from his mother. Mom. Wyan. They already found Izuku. They said that he was at the hero's stores the whole time. Wyan sighed in relief. Thank goodness nothing happened to him. By the way, sweetie, where are you right now? I'm at the city street. I'll be back to the hotel by myself. Mom and Aizu can go back first. Are you sure, sweetie? Do you remember our way back to the hotel? I'm sure, don't worry. Okay then, but make sure to go straight back to the hotel, okay? Okay, Mom. And he ended the call. Great. He just lied to his mom. He didn't actually wanted to worry his mother, so he decided to walk back hoping that he could find the place that at least he recognizes. He can't see the injured cat anywhere now, so he decided to just find a way back and hope that the cat would be okay. Out of nowhere, a large explosion not far from him can be heard. And of course, logically speaking, anyone who is sane enough would try to run away from it and move on to their usual daily life. Surely, Wyan is smart enough to not involve himself to something that is dangerous. But he's not. He ran towards the sound instead. When he reached at the place, he tried to hide himself behind one of the remnants of the destroyed building so that no one will see him, lessen the chance of him of being the victim. His eyes widened when he saw what was in front of him. Isn't that All Might? But who is that guy with white hair? The young boy tried to get closer without being noticed to get a better view. Man, don't you know what it means by danger, young boy? He looks familiar. But where did I see him before? Wyan tried to remember where he saw the man before the number 1 hero. Much to his dismay, he couldn't. So he just pushed them aside, thought that maybe he could remember them later. What's important now is the scene that is in front of him. The man with white hair smirked evilly, which sent the shivers on the young boy's spine. All Might, the symbol of peace. Now that you found me, do you think you can really stop my plan to make my ideals into reality? All Might, who looked like he could fall anytime, tried his best to stand on his feet. He coughed out some blood before he spoke. Your ideals are nothing but a destruction to this world, all for one. You and the League of Villains would never accomplish them. Wait, hold up. All for one? The League of Villains? What the hell are they? Why, I never heard of them before. The man who known as All for One by All Might laughed as if All Might just made a stupid joke. Oh, All Might, you don't even know what is my plan. How can you even stop me? Whether I knew it or not, I will do anything in my power to stop you. That is what all of my predecessors wished and fight for. All Might then charge towards All for One and attack him with his fist, causing lots of dust of the ground to flew around the large area. Wyan thought that All Might managed to take him down, but then he saw that All Might is the one on the ground. As for his enemy, he didn't even had a scratch. Your attacks are much better than those pathetic inheritors, but it's still not good enough. But since you impressed me a bit, let me tell you some of my plans. All Might tried to get up and attack him once more, but right now, he needs to take a few time to gather the energy to make one big shot. So he just listened what All for One wanted to say. As you know, One for All is a power that can be passed from one person to another. But that is also implied to my quirk, All for One. What do you mean by that? What I want to say, All Might, is that I already have a person who will be my successor. All Might's eyes widened. You don't mean? Yes, exactly. There will be the next inheritor of All for One, the next symbol of evil. Wyan, who had been hearing the conversation with him using both hands at the back of his ears just to amplify the hearing, had his mouth agape with this unbelievable information. Oh dear. Maybe I just heard something that I shouldn't? Who cares? As long as I can keep my sweet mouth shut, it won't cause any trouble. Right now, my successor is still young. But eventually he will grow into a strong villain with the same ideal as mine. Not that I will tell who it is. And just like that, his words ended as All Might use all of his left power to attack him straight to his face. Knock, knock, knock. Wyan stepped out of his thought of the past when he heard his door knocked. He quickly closed his laptop, didn't even have time to shut it down first and keep his notebook in his drawer. The door they opened revealed Izuku, who had a large smile on his face. Aniki, I'm back. Mom said that we should have a dinner now. Oh, okay. I will be downstairs then. By the way, Aizu, you seem to be more happy than usual. Did you meet All Might and get his autograph or something? Wine, joked the last part, but Izuku was startled when he heard it. There was no reply from the younger twin, which made the older tilted his head. Are you okay, Aizu? About that, Vaniki. I will tell you when we finished our dinner and everything. Wait, what? Izuku, without waiting for his brother to continue, he ran to downstairs, leaving the twin alone in his room, who was quiet for a moment. Holy shit, Izuku. You really did get his autograph? YN. No swearing. Hey guys. So this chapter is a bit short since it was only about YN's secret encounter of the past incident. I really hope that you enjoy reading them. NightstarAkana. It's already past midnight. The twins still woke up and currently sat down on the floor at Izuku's bedroom. Obviously they didn't tell Inko that they stayed up, or else she would have joined them or told them to sleep. Even when the first option sounds nice, they could not let their mother know a very important secret that Izuku is about to tell to Y for now. And then he said that he chose me to inherit his quirk. Izuku exclaimed. YN, hugging the pillow close to his chest with his legs crossed on Izuku's bed, just hear the whole story of Izuku's encounter with All Might. Every time Izuku tell about it, YN will react like he's watching some sort of drama, getting emotional in various ways. There was one part where Izuku told him that All Might said to Izuku that he can't be a hero. YN, of course, gotten mad and almost breaking one of Izuku's precious All Might collection, acting as if those All Might figurines are All Might himself. Thankfully, Izuku managed to calm him down and save those figurines, that who knows how much those costs. Aizu. That's so awesome. You meet All Might, getting his autograph and you will be his successor. So like you're All Might's apprentice or something. YN, letting go of the pillow and pushed himself to hug his brother. Izuku retuned the hug. He smiled at first, but then a concerned expression replaced it. Aniki, you don't hate me or something like that, right? The older twin released the hug, looking at Izuku with confuse. Why would you think that? It's just that I will get his quirk. The quirk that you once told me that you wished to have when we were young and dash. The older twin just let out a small yet heartwarming laugh at how his twin brothers still care about what YN wants when Izuku himself is the quirkless here. Silly Aizu. There's no reason for me to hate my own twin. Listen, you deserve this, Aizu. Just like All Might told you, you are worthy of his power. Besides, you can finally get a quirk. You just have to train with him and get that invincible quirk. Izuku laughed at his brother's action hand gesture. He felt relief when his brother didn't hold anything against him. Speaking of training, how will you train with All Might before the exam? Oh yeah. Izuku stood up and took some papers from his bag and gave it to YN. What's this? This is my physical training schedule starting from tomorrow. Oh my gosh. There's even the meal suggestions. All Might really take this seriously. I know that Izuku's supposed to get this schedule from All Might later, but I changed that a bit. Right? I wonder if I can keep it up though. Izuku's sweat dropped, thinking that if he could survive with all of that training. Just look at it, you can tell it's kind of too much for a scrawny teenager like him. Of course you can. This is Midoriya Izuku we're talking about here. YN then just realized that they already took much time when he saw the clock on the wall. Shoot, it's already 1:30. Young man, you need to sleep right now. But, Aniki, tomorrow is weekend. Nope, you have training early in the morning. Now hop to the bed. Okay. Good night, Aniki. Good night, Otudo. YN closed the door and went to his bedroom. As he closed his bedroom door behind him, his fake smile dropped. The fake smile that he put around his younger brother so that Izuku wouldn't find out what he truly felt when he heard the whole story from him. That is what all of my predecessors wished and fight for. Yes, exactly. There will be the next inheritor of All for One, the next symbol of evil. And then he said that he chose me to inherit his quirk. All of those, when he put them all together, he made a conclusion. The conclusion that the older twin feared for what will be the fate of his precious young brother. His green bangs shadowed his eyes as he stared at the floor. YN then put one of his hands on his forehead as if the news had caused him a headache. I don't want to see him suffer even more. This is just too much. He wanted to say it to Izuku. He really wanted to stop him from achieving being the next holder of One for All. Prevent him from fighting for who knows who might be. But he couldn't. His brother's bright smile and those sparkling green eyes. The way he told him from the start to the end, Wyan, never see his brother to be so happy for as long as he remember. His dream of becoming a hero finally become brighter. He finally can have a quirk. He couldn't just shatter them like that. Can we still become the legendary twin heroes? That's right. Why he didn't think of that? Izuku has his brother and they already promised to be a hero together. Wyan then went to his desk and opened his laptop, searching for the useful information about his research. I need to know everything about them and also train my abilities if I want to be the top hero and help Aizu. Mom? Where's Aizu? Wyan woke up pretty early despite that he stayed up doing his research. He wanted to wake Izuku up only to find an empty tidy bed. He thought that he might be at the dining room eating breakfast, but he's not here too. Oh, Wyan. Your brother already went outside, saying that he needs to train for the UA entrance exam. Are you kidding me? It's freaking 6 o'clock a.m. right now and he already got up earlier than that. Well, judging from Mom doing the preparation for breakfast, he clearly didn't have his breakfast. Can I make a breakfast instead? Good thing that I remembered what is his scheduled meal for this morning. At Dagoba Municipal Beach Park, Izuku struggled to pull a fridge along with All Might who sat on top of it, though it looks like he couldn't move it a bit at all. Hey, this is such a comfy fridge to sit on. All Might exclaimed, and Izuku fell to the ground. If you could move it even a little, it would have been a little easier. Izuku held his head up and turned to All Might. Well, yeah. I mean, you weigh 274, right? No, I lost weight, so I'm only 255 kilogram now in this form. Anyway, why am I dragging trash at the beach park? All Might laughed, took out his phone and took a picture of Izuku. It's 'cause you know you're not a proper vessel. What you're saying now is the opposite of what you said before. Izuku felt hopeless. All Might then told him that he was talking about Izuku's body and explained that in order to gain One for All without any damage to the body, Izuku must train his physical well until it is suitable to handle the quirk. They were talking for a moment before a familiar voice called Izuku. Aizu. All Might and Izuku glanced up to see another copy of Izuku waved at them. Aniki. The said person then jumped from that high place to in front of them. He then ran towards Izuku and hit his head, earning a yelp from the other twin. Midoriya. Izuku. You woke up this morning and you didn't even have a breakfast. And you expect to do whatever training you're doing now. I'm sorry, Aniki. Twine sighed for a moment but then suddenly screamed when he realized All Might was right before him. All Might. In flesh. It's great to finally meet you, another young Midoriya. Young Midoriya has been told me a lot about you. Another young Midoriya? Izuku's sweat dropped. Wyan, on the other hand, didn't mind the name as he was still amazed to see the number 1 hero in front of him. He then bowed 90 degrees. As his brother, I'm really grateful that Aizu have someone like you to train him. Thank you so much. No, don't be like that. Raise your head, young man. Wyan raised his head. He felt a large hand ruffled his curly hair. He deserves to be a hero, I'm just helping him to achieve it. Wyan smiled when he heard those words from All Might himself. After Izuku having a breakfast, he continued to take all of the garbage at the beach while Wyan and All Might watch him while sitting on a large rock. You know, All Might, you can turn to your real form. I already know from Aizu. Wait, Wakoff, and without purpose, All Might changed back to his skeleton form. Young Midoriya told you? It's okay, but we'll keep it a secret, Wyan tried to assure All Might. All Might sighed heavily in relief. Wyan was nervous of what he wanted to say next. He closed his lips tightly before he decided to speak about that injury from 5 years ago. All Might flinched when he heard. He stared at Wyan in disbelief. It's actually from the guy called the symbol of evil, isn't it? ODMN. WR. No, how did you know? He was planned to tell him the truth, but he felt like he shouldn't. So, why? Lied. I was interested about the symbol of evil when I heard the rumors about it. He's kind of not famous now, but he is very known few generations before. The weird thing is, I can't find any information about his death or anything that confirmed he no longer possessed threat. It still remained mystery about his identity. I believe this villain is still alive somewhere, and he is also the reason why you have limited time to transform. And besides, the villain named Toxic Chainsaw, from his quirk, if we observe thoroughly, it actually doesn't make sense for him to make you like this. That went well than expected. All Might, who had been staring at the older twin with disbelief, then cleared his throat. You're just like your twin, well informed. But I think you're overly observing them. Why? Laugh awkwardly. He does get a lot of that from the others. Sigh, I guess I can't hide it from you. Yes, it's true. That villain didn't make me like this. It was actually from my greatest enemy. And I'm afraid he is still out there, plotting his whatever heinous plan he is thinking. All Might clenched his fist. The boy next to him saw his hand shaking. He had to admit he too is scared of All for One. Even though he only met him once, from afar, he can still feel those terrifying aura. Wine suddenly stood up, making All Might glances at him. All Might, I thought that if what I thought about this is true, I would have told Izuku to not be your successor. Heck, I even tell him to stop admiring you. All Might was speechless. I couldn't bear to see my own brother to face this kind of fate. It terrifies me to my bone just thinking about it. He didn't have a quirk to begin with, always been bullied by others, looking down by them. And now he has to face this enemy. It's just not fair. Sadly but true, All Might agreed because he was also like Izuku, being born quirkless. But all of that is just my selfish self. Thinking that I could protect him by shattering his own dream, our dream. I don't want that. And that is why I've decided All Might. What he heard next moved him. If Izuku himself heard this, he might even just cried happily for who knows how long. Is that how strong the bonds of these twin? I will support Izuku and be a great hero that is worthy of fighting alongside with the successor of One for All. And so, the twins continue their training for the upcoming entrance exam. Izuku obviously training with All Might according to the schedule prepared for him. As for Wyan, he went someplace to train by himself. He attended some martial art class to strengthen his physical strength without using his quirk. He thought that it would be a good idea to do that, believing that you can't always rely on your quirk. Since there's Kof Aizawa Kof. He also practiced for his quirk, both telekinesis and fire breath. At first, he lift heavy objects. He even went to practice at abandoned building just to try to lift it. And it worked. Took few days to be able to. Of course, he wrote down all of this information in his notebook. Not just any notebook. It's a notebook specially about him. Telekinesis really does come in handy if I can't attack my opponent by short distance or hand-in-hand combat. Though it takes more time if the object I choose is larger or heavier object, so I need to train on the speed of it more to improve them and if possible, moving them around as fast as I could. Oh, I should also try to control as many of the object as well. I need to have some weapon on me then at any time. Can it also be as a shield? Possible. That needs to be focused as well. But what about my fire breath? It seemed useless since it's like one-time attack at one target. It would be tiring and I can lost a lot of breath just to attack the opponent if they move. Plus, I need to take a deep breath for a larger flame dash. Peng. Wyan went back to reality when he felt someone slapped him on his head. Midoriya. We were talking to you. Oh yes, sorry. He closed his notebook. What did you guys said? Sai, we were talking about Bakugu. You know, he destroyed some of the shops when he become the villain's hostage. Yeah. Since he have explosion quirk. If he loses control or something, he can set anything on fire. Such a dangerous quirk for a dangerous man. Better not mess with him then. Control? Set on fire? The green-haired male grinned to himself. I know this is sound crazy, but it's worth to try. After school, Wyan walked to the abandoned building that he tried to lift to try his new idea. He put some of dried leaves and small branches on the ground in a small pile. Okay, here we go. Taking a breath, he then let out the flame on them, making the fire present in front of him. He then focused on the fire, facing his palms towards the fire. Please let it work. Come on. Any moment now. I don't think this is work. I must have gone crazy. To think that I can control the fire. Using it like waving my hands around just like this and oh look. The fire is moving. It took a few seconds before he realized. The fire is moving. Oh my all might. I did it. It worked. It really worked. Wyan laughed as he jumped joyfully around the fire. He even uses his quirk to make the fire dance. He was too happy to realize a figure watching his every move this whole time. 10 months later, UA High. The twins stood in front of the gigantic gate of the school of their dream. This is it, Aizu. The UA. Yeah, Aniki. I'm so nervous. I don't even have much time to test out the power. The older twin tilted his head, smirked at Izuku. But you did eat his hair, right? Yeah, I did. But I didn't feel anything yet. Honestly, Izuku. I can't stop laughing when All Might gave you his hair. I was actually waiting for something like, more cool way to receive it. Fine, whispered, not wanting to let anyone hear it. He put his hand at his mouth to hold his laugh. I was thinking the same too. Like there was a light dash. Out of my way, Deku. The twins turned to their back to see Katsuki. Behind them, looking as sad as usual. Don't stand in front of me, I'll kill you. Izuku flinched. Katsuki then glanced at the older twin who waved at him. Good morning, Kaken. You should greet me too. You remember it, right? The ash blonde blushed in embarrassment, eyes twitched while, Wyan just smiled as if waiting for him to say something. Shut up. I won't say it. But we agreed on this, Kaken. Since when did we make an agreement, huh? You just decide by yourself and disappear. Now leave me alone. And Katsuki left, leaving Wyan, who was pouting in disappointment, and Izuku, who was confused the whole time. Aniki, what is the nickname you told to Kaken? You will know it soon enough, Aizu. Right now, we need to pass this exam. Why? Said. Izuku wanted to know right there right now. But he shaked his head side to side as he remembered that they have more important matter to do. Okay, Aniki, let's take a step of become a hero. Izuku took a step forward, but he wasn't careful enough. He tripped himself. Why? Was about to catch his brother only to see his brother floating? Huh. They said in unison. Are you all right? The girl with short brown hair asked Izuku and helped him to stood back on the ground. The girl smiled. It's my quirk. Sorry for using it without asking first. Oh, you can control anything. Why? Asked, walking a bit to them. Kind of like that. Dash. The girl thought that it was Izuku is the one who asked since it sounded like the male's voice, but when she saw another of him, the girl gasped. There's the two of you. Is that your quirk? I just laughed, patting his brother's back. We're twins. Thanks for saving my brother. He can be pretty clumsy sometimes. I'm not. The girl giggled at the twins' behavior. Well then, let's do our best. See ya. As the girl walked away, Wyan saw his brother have a weird proud smile that he found it hilarious. I just talked to a girl. You just stood there, Aizu. Wyan sweat dropped. All of the participants sat on their preferred seat at the UA hall. Some of them talked with their friends while they are those who tried to know new people. The twins sat next to each other, talking about how to at least score this practical test. Then, the older twin stopped their conversation when he heard the empty seat next to him that was empty got occupied. He turned around, telling Izuku that he wanted to chat with the person, and he saw. Oh, Kaken. You're here. Katsuki's eyes widened. He didn't expect to meet him soon. It's actually a pure coincidence that he is sitting right next to him. He tried to find another seat by turning head left and right. Unfortunately for him, there are no seats left. Are you f***ing kidding me? Now, Kaken. That is not a good way to say that to your friend. By the way, I'm still waiting for you to call my nickname. The male grinned mischievously. Izuku just sat quietly while looking at both of them secretly with small curiosity. He seemed to be eager to know the nickname. Katsuki clenched his fist tightly. He gritted his teeth. Just because I called Deku, Deku, and you both somehow called me this ridiculous Kaken, doesn't mean that I will call you by a nickname that I don't even agree on, dumbass. Oh, come on. It won't hurt a fly. But it'll destroy my dignity. Nah, it doesn't. What makes you think that? You're not giving it up, are you? Yeah, I won't. Both of them were too busy with each other that they didn't even notice people around them stared at them weirdly. Izuku slapped his forehead, kind of embarrassed being his twin. Katsuki thought to himself before he asked, "You won't disturb me again if I call you this once?" Wine nodded excitedly, "Yup." Katsuki sighed, "Fine. But you better listen cause I won't repeat it. But I'm all ears. Dash. Welcome to UA entrance examination." The green-haired male who was just forcing him to call him by the nickname turned his head and his eyes shone brightly when he saw present Mike. And Katsuki is saved. For now. For all you examinee listeners tuning in, welcome to my show today. Everybody say, "Hey." Everyone didn't respond. Except for one. "Hey." Wine shouted with the same energy as the present Mike, thinking that everyone else would also respond. Though it was only him who seemed enthusiastic, the older twin doesn't mind that multiple pair of eyes staring at him. That's a great spirit you have there, young listener. I like that. Then I'll quickly present to you the rundown on the practical exam. Are you ready? Yeah. Again, only the same green-haired male shouted. The others are too nonchalant about this. Boring. Wine said in his mind. Meanwhile, Izuku didn't make any respond like his twin since he was too amazed right now. He even muttering non-stop about the voice hero. As it says in the application requirements, you listeners will be conducting 10-minute mock urban battles after this. After the presentation, you'll head to the specified battle center, okay? Katsuki took a peek on Wine's card number information. In other words, they won't let you work with your friends, huh? YN and Izuku heard this, so they look at each other's card. Why, you're right. Even though our examinee numbers are consecutive. Izuku said. And then, Wine, finish it, we're assigned to different battle centers. Present Mike explained more about the progress of the practical exam. He told them in brief, but it's clear for all of the examiners. May I ask a question? Not all. The male with dark hair who were wearing glasses stood up, showing a piece of paper of the information of the exam. On the printout, there are 4 types of villains. If that is a misprint, then UA, the most prominent school in Japan, should be ashamed of that foolish mistake. We examiners are here in this place because we wish to be molded into exemplary heroes. Whoa, man. Calm yourself, will ya? You don't need to say like that. Just think logically and let him finish his explanation. Wine mentally thought. He didn't hate this person, but it would be nice if this person asked more nicely. In addition, you over there with the curly hair. Is he talking about me or Aizu? You've been muttering this whole time. It's distracting. If you're here on a pleasure trip, then you should leave immediately. Izuku mumbled, I'm sorry, feeling bad for his habit. As for YN, the robot acting like male's glasses suddenly floating, making him and the others gasped. It then flies until it reached on YN's hand. He had a creepy restraining anger smile on his face. He didn't care if it was him, but if it's his innocent little brother, he doesn't hesitate. How about you just sit your butt down and shut your F-king mouth before I turned you just like your stupid glasses? And he broke the glasses. Don't worry. Of course, Lita have another spare with him. Maybe. The male just stood there speechless. He then sat down, thinking that it would waste of the time if they continue like this. Izuku tried to calm his brother down, while Katsuki secretly formed a smirk by YN's earlier behavior. After the briefing, all of them were separated to each of the battle centers. YN saw that Izuku had went to the center C, which the older twin stopped Izuku and told him that Izuku had went to the wrong way while pointing the other direction. Seeing how the younger twin flinched and stuttered, the older twin already worried for his little brother. He then start mumbling, he's too nervous. I know he already has the quirk, but he didn't have a chance to try once. All Might did told him how to unleash them, but I don't know if Aiza managed to pull it off. What if there is a bad side effect on his body? The other examiners at the same center sweat dropped. Hey, isn't that the one who broke that guy's glasses? Really? I thought he is the one who mumbles the whole time at briefing. I don't know, man. They both look identical. Can't tell the difference. Wyan stopped his mumbling when he felt his phone vibrated at his pocket. He took it out to see a message from an unknown number. From unknown. Do your best, my boy. Make me proud of you. That's weird. Who could it be? Maybe it's from All Might? Since, Wyan sometimes heard he call Izuku my boy several times. Izuku must have give him Yn's number instead. Or maybe All Might also cheering for him. The thought of that made the green-haired male smile a bit. It's been a long time since he felt like this. The feeling of a father's love for his son. He really missed his father actually. Although the memory of him is all blurry, he still remember how he treated Wyan with full of care. How he ruffled his hair when Wyan managed to impress him. How he told Wyan about heroes and villains and the society. He spends so much time with his father when he was young. His twin mostly spend more with his mother. I wonder what his dad doing now? Hold up. This is not the time to think about it. Wyan just came back to reality when he heard one of the instructor exclaimed, "Begin!" He ran and started to search for the villain. When he spotted one, he lifted and smashed it to the ground, making the robot unable to move anymore. There are multiple robots approaching towards him, so Wyan used his telekinesis quirk to control those robots and collided them with each other. He even breathes out the fire from his mouth while controlling the fire to burn the other robots within the range. Hey, that guy's crazy. He's using the robots to attack the other? Is he going to gather all of them like that? And there's even fire. What a powerful quirk. So far, Wyan managed to get a lot of points. He thought that it is enough to pass, but he still took down more villains. Because, why not? Then, all of a sudden, there's an earthquake. Everyone halted and tried to balance themselves, completely confused with the situation. Out of nowhere, a gigantic robot appeared near them. What in the world? Why does the 0-point villain that big? Wyan stared at the robot while everyone ran away from it as the robot started to damaging the buildings. Those people finally show their true colors, huh? To think they wanted to be a hero. Pathetic. Without wasting any time, Wyan jumped as high as he could when the villain robot tried to smash him. He uses the remnants of the robots near him, combining them into a sharp spear-like shape, large enough to take that robot down. He make the spear go as high as he can and then aim the pointed part of it right to robot's main core. He then threw the spear. Take this. When the attack passed through to the robot, it then started to fell towards the ground. Oh shoot. Wyan spotted a person where the robot fell towards to. He ran as fast as he could and just in time, he managed to pull the person before getting hurt. Wyan let out a heavy yet relief sigh. They were a few centimeters away from it. Phew. Thank goodness. Good grief. UA really is insane. No wonder it is the top hero course school. Now, Wyan is getting excited. He really do hope that he could pass this exam and go together with his twin brother. But wait, Izuku. Meanwhile, at Center B, the 0-point villain robot has also been taken down. And it was none other than the other twin who did it. He passed out after defeating it. Everyone else just watching him laying on the ground, talking about the green-haired male. What was that guy? He suddenly jumped at the obstacle. He seemed to have a reinforcement-type quirk, but that was unusual. Anyway, there's no mistaking that he's an amazing guy. Izuku. Everyone at the Center B glanced upwards to look for the owner of the voice. They saw a floating villain robot. Isn't the practical exam just finished? Or is it just some kind of trick? Wait. The robot looks too damaged to be functional and there's a person on that robot. He looked around as if he tried to search for something or someone. The male landed on the ground along with the robot he rode on. Not a good landing though, as if the person wanted to be in a hurry. He jumped down from it and quickly ran towards the other male that is still unconscious, laying on the ground. Izuku. Wyan bend his knees to the ground, turning Izuku, who faced his face at the ground, and put him in his arms. He was shocked to see his brother is badly injured. He glanced at his right arm that is covered with bruises. That must be from his quirk. But to be like this. He then heard several people talking about them. Is that his twin? They look so identical. The other one seemed fine. Oh, they must have different quirks. Wine tried to lift himself, still carrying Izuku in his arms, careful not to accidentally damage his now fragile body. He then heard some of them said that Izuku did not manage to obtain any point, but he instead tried to save a girl from that 0-point villain. He was beyond shocked. To think that he knew that he didn't have any points, but he still used the quirk and that time to save someone instead of taking down other villain with points. You idiot Otudo. You always risking everything for someone else, huh? Unlike those people here. He glanced at other teenagers at the area. How long has been Izuku laying on the ground? Did they just stand there and do nothing except barging about him? Talking dirty about him? That might be possible. Why they didn't do the right thing? Are all of these people actually like this? Why? He was mad. No, he was furious. He hated how they act like as if this is something that they don't have to be concerned of. Why do they even apply for hero course in the first place? Okay, good work. Good work. A short old lady with a staff walked towards Wyan and Izuku. Wyan held Izuku close to him, making a defensive stand as the old lady approached them. You really care for him, aren't you, young man? Don't worry, I'm just doing my job to heal him. And without waiting for the male to say anything, she kissed Izuku on his head. Huh. Then, magically, Izuku's wound started to heal until he returned to normal as if nothing scratched him. Wyan felt relief and bowed down a bit to the lady since he still carried Izuku. Thank you for healing him. It's nothing. He just need a good rest and he's good to go. She turned to the others. Let's finish this quickly. Is anyone else injured? It's already 1 week after the entrance exam. Izuku has been always spacing out. He didn't tell his mother nor Wyan about his practical exam. Wyan didn't want to bring it up. He knew it will be not a good idea to ask him. Izuku? Izuku? He looked to his brother beside, who's weirdly smiling at the fish that he hold. After calling him for so many times, Izuku finally looked at Inko. Why are you smiling at the fish? Worry showed all over her face. Oh, sorry. I'm fine. Izuku tried to assure her. Inko still worried about Izuku, so his older brother said, Izuku is just tired. I guess I was too harsh on training him for the whole 10 months. Wyan has been covered for Izuku. There was this one time, Inko asked as to why Izuku wanted to buy some physical training equipment and where did he get the training schedule in his desk. Izuku was searching for a good reason, then fine, stepped in and tell her it was his idea. Of course, he get a few words from his mother, telling him that he should be easy on Izuku. Wyan just pretended everything for the sake of keeping a secret and taking the blame instead of Izuku. Inko sighed heavily before changing the topic. Anyway, the results should arrive today or tomorrow, right? Yeah. Wyan replied. She continued, this time she glanced at Izuku. I think it's amazing that you both even applied to UA. Yeah. Izuku replied. Well, that's awkward. After the dinner, Inko went outside to handle something regarding the neighborhood they live in. Izuku sat on the couch, lifting a weight while he's on his thoughts. Wyan sat next to him after he finished the dishes. He patted his shoulder and looked at Izuku with concern. Hey Otudo. I wanted to say about the exam a week ago. I know about your situation back there dash. Why you knew Aniki? Dash. I was there. I saw you on the ground. And I just wanted to say that what you did is right, Izuku. Izuku smiled sadly, but I didn't even manage to get 1 point. Listen, what you do is what not everyone out there can do. You're a true hero, Izuku. And if UA didn't see that, I would set the UA on fire and make you save their school just so they will change their mind and take you in. Izuku chuckled at his brother's joke. What he didn't know is that his brother was deadly serious every single word. The door bursted open. The sound of it made the twins turn to see their mother was in panic. Izu. Izuku. YN. It's here. T the result. Izuku was just staring at his envelope before taking a courage to open it. A machine round-like object was in it and it immediately revealed a screen. I am here as a projection. All Might. This is from UA, right? All Might exclaimed that he was actually came to the town to start his job as a teacher at UA. He also apologized to Izuku that he couldn't contact him since he had a lot of paperwork to do. Even if you passed the writing exam, you got 0 points on the practical exam. Of course, that means you didn't pass. Izuku held his head down, gripping his fist tightly to held his frustration. I know that. But it's frustrating. If that was all there was to it. This made Izuku confused, so he tilted his head up. All Might moves aside from his position a bit to show Izuku a short video. He was shocked when he saw the person who was in that video. The girl he saved back during the training exam. The girl told that she wanted to share her points to Izuku because Izuku had saved her. Not only that, All Might also then showed another video, and this one it's Aniki. He was the one who carried you to the infirmary and also negotiate directly in person after the exam. All Might pauses the video, not really showing what the older twin was talking about since it might just be the same thing. The entrance exam the other day was not graded only on villain points. How can a hero course reject people who save others and do the right thing? And that is why there is rescue points. The screen then showed the list of the students' points. Izuku then saw his own. Midoriya Izuku, 60 points. He then searched for his twin's points, only to found it at the top of the list. Oh my god. Midoriya, YN, rescue points, 58 points. Izuku continued, and his total is 126. This is too crazy, the tears falling though his cheeks. We both passed the exam, Aniki. We did it. Calm down. I'm sure Izuku will be fine. YN, who already went out of his room, crossed his arms waiting for his brother to come out as well. How can I? I'm just worried if dash. The door opened. YN and Inko turned their focus to the other green-haired male. They waited for him to say something, but the male just smiled. That smile was enough to let them know. Inko started to sob as she hugged him. Izuku. YN just smiled at both of them as he was happy to see that his brother finally get to study at the school of their dream. What they didn't know is that YN was actually received another letter of entering the hero course which he secretly applied for backup plan. And it's from Shiketsu High. A week before, one of the pro heroes who are also the staff of UA glanced at YN, wanting to get right down to the real reason as to why they called him here. Tell us. Why do you exchange your center location with Midoriya Izuku? You do know that with no one could tell the difference between you two, the points that you get will go under his name, right? The older Midoriya twin casually answered, I know that very well, sir. In fact, I intended to make it that way. Another staff asked, why would you do that? Based on the points, you might not get to enter the UA. He will get it instead of you. I don't care that much, if I'm being honest. Going to the UA is his dream in his entire life. And he deserves much more than I am. But your action can cause both of you to get expelled from the exam. Did you have a thought about that? This statement made him smirk to all of the staff. You mean, only you will get expelled? What is even a reason to expel someone who doesn't even know that he involved in the situation? Though, even if there is no points for him, you all have no choice but to use mine as the replacement. Isn't that right? After all, with such scene that I made right there, everyone will get suspicious if there is no one of the Midoriya passed the exam. And if that really happens, I wonder what will happen to UA. All of them gulped when they heard. They didn't expect this young kid would even thought about something like this. Even they didn't even think about it. The young male continued to say his final words before he leave, seeing there is no reason for him to stay longer. So when I decided that he will get to enter the UA, I will make sure he did. Everything will always go the way I wanted to, no one can change that. Hey everyone. So as you can see, YN was at first intended to make Izuku get into UA with his plan and he will enter at Shiketsu High. But it turns out both of them make it, huh? So yeah, that's all I guess. I hope you enjoy reading them. NightstarAkana. Inko decided to make katsudon for the night to celebrate her son's acceptance to UA. YN at first wanted to tell her she didn't have to, since they just ate dinner, but when he saw Izuku's shining eyes, he closed his mouth. YN already finished his meal, so he just sit, resting his head on his hand while watching Izuku eating the third bowl. You know, Aizu, I always wonder if you actually have a quirk. Izuku, who had a food in full in his mouth, turned to his side to look at his brother. We Yao Ida? Why you say that? YN, who has been together with Izuku since born, knew what he's saying. His eyes twitched. At least try to talk without your mouth full. Okay. And he swallow. Why Aniki say that? And shove another one. We just ate dinner, and you already ate 3 bowls of katsudon. To have that much space in your stomach, maybe your quirk is Doraemon Pocket Dash. Izuku coughed, closing his mouth using his hand, and tried to swallow the food properly. YN almost wanted to laugh, seeing his brother struggling by hitting his chest. Izuku took a glass of water and drank it. He sighed in relief, then looked at YN. Aniki. That's not funny. The male just shrugged. It's not my fault that you have your mouth full. I'm just telling what I think. Before Izuku could protest, his phone rang, giving the 3 of them attention. Izuku took the call and went to the living room. Meanwhile, Inko glanced at her older son. I still can't believe that Izuku get to go to UA. It's like a dream. It's not a dream. Aizu really did get to go into UA. Some tears started to form at the corner of her eyes. She wiped it as she smiled. And you too, YN. I'm so proud of you both. Your father too. This caught his attention. Without notice, he slammed the table, much to Inko's shock. Wait, Mum. Did Dad know about this? Where is he right now? Can I call him? Is he doing fine? So many questions in such a short amount of time. Inko tilted her head to the side. Huh? Didn't he send a message to you, YN? I thought I already gave him your phone number. Oh dear. Did he heard that right? So that unknown phone number is actually his dad. Since when? Why didn't Mom tell me this sooner? Your father just sent me a letter few weeks ago. There's his phone number, and I thought it would be a surprise for you to see his message. Inko smiled and then turned to worry, but he said that he will always out of the line area, so we can't call him often. He will call us when he can, so don't worry. Izuku then came back, saying that he had to go out to meet his friends. YN knew that was a lie. Izuku will go see All Might. He intended to follow him too, but with this sudden shocking news, he changed his mind. In his bedroom, YN sat in his bed while staring at his phone that he held on his hand for a long time. He stared at the message that he received a week ago. Should I text him? Or should I call him? What if he doesn't pick up his call? It's been years since I last saw him. What if this is a wrong number? That would be embarrassing. No, that's impossible. This isn't going anywhere unless I try. He then reaches for the call button as if it was the hardest thing to get. Eventually he pressed it. Okay, YN. Take a deep breath and keep calm. Let's just hope he answer the call. Hello. YN started. Izuku, do you have tissue? Yeah. Izuku, currently tying his shoe and stood at the door, waiting for his brother. And handkerchief? What about your handkerchief? Your hanky? Inko asked again. I think Aizu already have all of them. YN crossed his arms. Yes, I have. Izuku stood up. Let's go, Aniki. We're going to be late. Wait. The twins turned to their mother. What? Inko smiled warmly for a moment, looking her children wearing UA uniform. They both really look identical. Even the shoes they're wearing have the color. Though, ones are not boot kind like Izuku, more like sneakers, 'cause it helps with him moving fast in case anything happens. The another difference between them is their tie. Izuku had more cute way of tie while YN is just the normal one. You both look cool. The boys smiled at her and then stepped outside. We're off. When they reached at the school, YN asked one of the staff for their class direction. The staff told them to go to a certain building for the hero course. YN being the confident twin, leading the way with Izuku followed him from behind. This way. He pointed towards the corridor. They walked for a long time, Izuku thought. He looked around to see all of the rooms and designs of their new school. He was amazed by them. Not long after that, Izuku started to doubt that they walk at the right direction. Aniki, are you sure this is the right way? Why do you ask that, Izuku? Of course we are. Oh. It's like we walk in this large school for a long time already. We should find the class quickly. It will start soon. The older twin halted for a moment, making the younger one question for his act. Aniki, I actually already found our class. Wadash. Then why didn't we go there? Wayne looked to the other side, both of his index finger meet each other. I was looking for a toilet. Ha! Izuku slapped his forehead as he sighed. Oh, Aniki. Finally, after they found the restroom, they then went to their class. Right now, they stood in front of the classroom door. Izuku gulped. The elite chosen from the huge number at the exam. I hope I'm not in the same class as the scary people. Plain hit Izuku's back, causing him to almost fall. Chill, Otsuro. We both are also the chosen elite. He then held the door to open it. I'm sure we can get along with Dash. Don't put your feet on your desk. The owner of this voice sounded like a strict school prefect. Ha! Another familiar voice responded. Don't you think that's rude to the UA upperclassmen and the people who made that desk? Nope. What junior high did you go to, you side character? A male with glasses was standing in front of Katsuki's desk, giving him some advice. As for Katsuki, who resting his legs on his desk, just insulting him. It appears that there are certain people who made the older twin change his mind. You know what, Otudo? Forget what I just said. Izuku glanced at his older brother in confusion. The male with dark blue hair stopped his argue with Katsuki when he noticed the twins. You are. Since he draws the attention of the whole class, when he look at the front door, the whole class also do the same. This made Izuku felt more nervous. Oh. Good morning. The male with a pair of glasses then walked towards them, well, more like marching towards them. I am from semi-private academy. My name is Dash. YN just stared at him in boredom. We already know that. The male halted right there when Izuku waved his hand awkwardly to assure him. I'm Midoriya Izuku. Nice to meet you, Ida-kun. Izuku turned to his brother to see he didn't introduce himself, having a bad feeling if he didn't do something, he then do it on his brother's behalf. And he is Midoriya, YN. He is my twin brother. Ida felt uncomfortable with the sudden atmosphere. Why is your brother emitting a threatening aura? Is he always like this? Izuku flinched when Ida said that. He took a glance at his brother and he indeed saw a gaze of a person that could strangle anyone at any second. He held his brother's shoulder to calm him down. He was having a bad morning. We were searching for the class for a long time, that's why. If you say so. Then, one of their classmates went in front of them. Hey! You're that amazing and crazy guy at the exam. YN then returned to his usual self when he saw someone pointed his finger at him. Oh, me? Yeah, I remember you. 'Cause you're the one who saved me from that giant robot. Thanks a lot, man. He patted Fine's shoulder. Was confused. If I remember it right, the one that I save have a black hair. Yeah, that's me. I changed my hair color. The man held his hair. Looks pretty good on me, right? The older twin just chuckled quietly. Truth to be told, you look more handsome like this, so yeah. Fine. Complimented, which made the red-haired male slightly flustered at the unexpected comment. It's not every day he get a guy telling him that he is handsome. By the way, the name is Kirishima Ijiro. You're Midoriya, right? Wine nodded to Kirishima. Well, that's right, but he held Izuku by his shoulder, which caused the other twin to yelp a bit. We're both Midoriyas. Oh yeah, right? You both twins. Then what should we call you both? Wine released Izuku, humming for a moment. He then pointed to himself. You can call Midoriya number 1 and Dash, pointing at Izuku, Midoriya number 2. The whole class sweat dropped. Okay, that sounds pretty lame. How about call me Midoriya-sama and my brother, Midoriya? Another sweat dropped. I'm the one with Chan? Izuku totally not agree with this. It sounds ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. If you know where that came from XD. YN turned his head to look at his younger brother with his innocent face. Why not? Izuku stumbles back in annoyance while Fine just smirked at his brother. The others just watched the whole scene, not wanting to interrupt the siblings. Or rather found it amusing. YN was the first one to break the silence. Okay. I'm kidding. You can just call me by my own name, YN. More simple. You could have just said that earlier. Okay then, YN. Kirishima agreed with the name. So what is your quirk actually? I saw you can form a big weapon and then just destroy that robot. Oh, it's Dash. Go somewhere else if you want to play being friends. Another voice interrupt their conversation. But wait, where did it came from? Everyone turned their head left and right, up and down, until they spotted a yellow. Wait, is that a big caterpillar? And that caterpillar just straightened itself. It took 8 seconds before you were quiet. Time is limited, you kids are not rational enough. It then opened the zip. Oh, it's just a human. A teacher? Which means that person's a pro hero too? Wine bend to his twin, whisper, I'm positive I've seen him somewhere. But I don't know where. Izuku furrowed his eyebrows, whispered too, really? That's weird. The teacher then introduced himself as Aizawa Shota and he is Class 1A's homeroom teacher. He searched for something in his caterpillar costume. His sleeping bag. He then pulled out the school's sport attire. It's kind of sudden, but put this on and go out onto the field. A quirk assessment test? By the time they reached to the school field, Aizawa told them that he would be evaluating them based on the test he will conduct for this session today. The students just stare at him in disbelief. Well, obviously because there's a test in the first day of high school year. What about the entrance ceremony? The orientation? Uraraka asked. If you're going to become a hero, you don't have time for such leisure events. And he explained about the UA's way of teaching and the difference of it with other schools. Aizawa showed the list of physical fitness. You kids have been doing these since junior high, right? Physical fitness tests where you weren't allowed to use your quirks. He then faced to one of the Midoriya twin. Midoriya, YN. You finished at the top of the practical exam, right? At junior high, what was your best result for the softball throw? YN tried to remember before he answered, 61 meters. Then try doing it with your quirk. All right then. Fine. Walked to the circle and stood there, taking the ball and waiting for the teacher. You can do whatever you want as long as you stay in the circle. Hurry up. Give it all you got. The green-haired male stretched himself, preparing to shoot the ball. When he get the right position, he then threw the ball. With using his own physical strength along with support of his quirk, he managed to send the ball with a large force. YN smirked to himself and put his hand just above his eyes to cover the light from his sight while watching the ball flying towards the sky. Using my quirk. Wait until they see the result. Aizawa read the record and then showed to his students. Infinity. Did you just send it to the space or what? What's this? It looks fun. We can use our quirks as much as we want. As expected from the hero course. It looks fun. The whole class went silent. Aizawa told them that they are not taking it seriously as a soon-to-be heroes. He then declared that anyone who gets the last place will be expelled from the school, much to the students' shock. YN saw Izuku was having a hard time. Since he knew about One for All, he knew that this test would be challenging for him. Overcome it with all you got. The real thing starts now. Test 150-meter dash. On your mark. Both Midoriyas sat on their position. The whole class found this to be interesting since they wanted to know which twin will get the shortest amount of time. Get set. Y glanced a bit at Izuku, felt bad for his younger brother. He can't pretend to lose to him since he just showed his potential during the softball throw earlier. So he just believe in his little brother. Go! Both of the twins ran. Izuku just ran in a speed of a normal person without using their quirk. YN, on the other hand, using his quirk to bring him forward at the highest speed that he could. Since his clothes and shoes are part of the object, he could control them by making his outfits pulling him more forward. He also made the right position to lessen the air resistance on him. 3.98 seconds. 7.02 seconds. After he heard his record, Izuku stopped running and take some breath. Wine ran towards Izuku and stood beside him. You can do this, Aizu. Just believe in yourself, okay? When Izuku can breathe normally again, he smiled at his brother. I will, Aniki. The twins didn't notice that Aizawa was watching them the whole time. Test 2, grip strength. Wine gripped the device as tightly as he can, and of course with his quirk. When he heard the beep sound, he looked at the result. Whoa! 294 kilogram. You sure are strong for people like you, no offense though. Kirishima suddenly appeared beside YN. I'm just using my quirk. It's nothing special. YN put his hand at the back of his head. So what's yours? Not that high, 68 kilogram. The green-haired male smirked. Wanna try again? I can help you to cheat. Kirishima sweat dropped, but he then watched YN weirdly when he started to act like a robot, swinging his hand like one of them. Just then Ida appeared. No cheating. You should be ashamed of yourself if you aim to be a hero. Ida stated, didn't notice that YN was copying his act. The action that he did was exactly the same. Kirishima tried to hold his laugh to not spoil the fun. And so, they all went to most of the test. And at the 5th test, YN watched Izuku, who currently stood inside the circle, with concern. It doesn't look good for him if he continue like this. Ida said. Katsuki was said, huh? Of course not. He's quirkless small fry. His statement made Ida shocked and immediately telling Katsuki about what Izuku had done during the entrance exam while YN just sighed at his childhood friend's unrepairable insult. Izuku took his time with his thoughts. He then get into his position and ready to throw the ball. And then the ball went dash. Far? 46 meters? I was definitely trying to use it just now. Izuku trembled, staring at his eyes in disbelief. I erased your quirk. The entrance exam was definitely not rational enough. Even a kid like you was accepted. The twins' eyes widened when they saw familiar yellow goggles underneath those white bandages-like material. Why didn't they recognize him earlier? They did write notes about him together before. They spoke in unison. He can erase other people's quirk with his quirk just by looking at them. The erasure hero, Eraserhead. While they shocked to see the underground hero is right in front of them, the rest of the class muttering to each other, not exactly know about their teacher. Aizawa started to speak as he stared at Izuku with his red and kind of dry eyes. From what I can tell, you can't control your quirk, can you? Do you intend to become incapacitated again and have someone save you? Izuku was stunned by the teacher's words. That's not my intention dash. Aizawa didn't let him finish, grabbing him and bringing Izuku close to him using the cloth material that was around his neck. YN, without a second thought, charged towards them. Knowing that using his quirk would be out of the question, he just grabbed the cloth that surrounds Izuku. His death glare made Aizawa flinch a bit, but it went unnoticed. Do you see? You have your brother to cover for you, and that's why you didn't even try to defend yourself. And you? Aizawa turned to YN. You're being overprotective with him. If you're continuing like this, you're not only holding him back, but also unable to unleash your true potential to fullest. Avoiding YN's shock face, he looked back to Izuku. Midoriya Izuku. With your power, you can't become a hero. Izuku didn't protest. YN gritted his teeth, wanted to say something, but a hand held his to prevent him from doing anything. He turned to see Izuku's bangs covered his eyes as he handed his head down. The pro hero released Izuku and his gave back quirk as well. He gave Izuku one more chance to use his quirk. YN walked back where the others stood. Ida has asked him if he is alright out of concern, but the older twin didn't answer him and just staring at where his little brother is. He saw how Izuku had his own conflict for a while, but the Izuku decided to just throw the ball, but the difference for this time is that instead of just use his whole arm to give the force upon the ball, he just used his quirk on the index finger. YN's eyes widened at the realization of what his little brother was about to do. Izuku then shouted, "Smash!" Making the ball flew at a high speed, causing some force of wind pushed the students towards he ball's direction. Everyone was amazed to finally see what Izuku can do, even though the result caused his finger to be severely injured. Wine didn't make any reaction much and stare at his own twin with a little frustration in his eyes. Am I holding him back? By the way, I was lying about the expulsion. Aizawa just grinned at his students. It was a rational deception to draw out the upper limit of your quirks. What? The whole class shouted. And so, the other class were going normally. By the time school ended, YN and Izuku went to infirmary to meet Recovery Girl to heal Izuku's injury. Just a simple kiss from her and Izuku is good as new. Though, as the drawback, Izuku felt very tired. The two of them walked together out of the school building. Izuku was walking like a zombie, having his shoulder bend to front and his exhausted face. He looks like he could fall asleep at any moment. I'm so tired. Wine, who walked beside Izuku, couldn't bear to see his brother walk like a dead, so he took his arm and put around his shoulder to support him. Geez, Aizu. You should learn quickly about your quirk if you don't want to be a walking dead. Izuku replied in whining tone, I know. But I just didn't get it right yet. How can I imagine to not cause damage to me like an egg explode in the microwave? There was a moment of pause and then the older twin could not help but tried his best to suppress his laugh. That's a lame comparison but understandable. How about we have training together sometime? Training together? I can't help you about one for all quirks since I don't know anything about it. So I think it would be a good idea if I teach you some martial arts. While figuring out how to control your quirk, you can at least use some techniques to handle any situation. It's the least I could do for you. YN thought to himself as he looked at Izuku with his soft gaze. Izuku was moved by his brother's concern. He nodded joyfully, agreeing to him, yeah. The brothers chatting about the plan of their training. They decided to start the training tonight and, YN was about to explain what will they do but was cut off by someone who called them from behind. Hey! The twins turned to see Ida. Ida-kun. Izuku flinched. It's the annoying glass guy. YN glared slightly at him. Ida didn't notice YN's gaze as he looked at Izuku. Is your finger healed? Izuku then showed his finger that is now bandages around it. Yeah, thanks to Recovery Girl. And then he moves his eyes to his brother. Ida also did the same. Izuku thought that he will see YN's intimidating expression like how he had at the class before, but instead he saw YN smiled in friendly manner to Ida. A dash? It seems that Ida being concerned about Izuku's injured finger made his brother change his view of the male with glasses automatically. Probably because YN realized that Ida is just being earnest person and honest. Also the fact that Ida is treating Izuku nicely. So, since you told everyone to call you YN, I will call you YN, right? Ida asked. Pai replies, of course. It's more easier. Though as for my brother, you can still call him Midoriya if you want dash. Hey you three. They turned and saw a girl with short brown hair ran towards them. You guys going to the station? I want to join too. You're the Infinity Girl. Ida remembered. And I'm the Infinity Boy. YN tried to make a joke. Sadly, all of them just stared at him, much to his disappointment. But then, Uraraka finally noticed what he meant. Oh yeah. You also got Infinity. I almost forgot. Midoriya, YN, right? Yup, that's me, YN, who is still supporting his twin casually answered. Uraraka continued, you're Tenya Ida and you're Midoriya Deku, right? Izuku was surprised by the name. YN, on the other hand, tried to hold his laugh with his shoulders shaking uncontrollably. Sure, the name is an insult to Izuku, but to hear from someone who is oblivious, he couldn't help but find it hilarious. That's not his real name. Why, said. But during the fitness test the boy named Bakugu said, Deku, you be yesterday. Izuku suddenly felt awkward by his nickname from Katsuki. My real name is Izuku, but Deku is what Kaken calls me to make fun of me. Ida putting his hand under his chin, an insult. Kind of like that. Wain shrugged. Oh, is that right? But Deku sounds like the Japanese word for, you can do it. So I kinda like it. Uraraka said with full of spirit. Wain was about to say that the name doesn't sound like one and more closely to the insult, but then he heard his brother exclaimed. I'm Deku. Midoriya. Ida was startled by the sudden name declaration. The other green-haired male rolled his eyes and sighed, seriously, Aizu? He then started to consider whether he should call his brother that name as well now that Izuku is more than gladly to be called like that. You're accepting it too easily. Wasn't that an insult? Ida couldn't comprehend with this. Then, out of nowhere, a familiar voice shouted one of the twins' name from far. The called male heard, but he just then turned his back to that person, tried to ignore him as much as possible. The person shed when he didn't hear or see the respond, so he called him again, Oi, Wain. You're ignoring me, huh? Uraraka poked Wain's shoulder, Nay, Wain, Kun. Bakuga-kun is calling you. I know. Then why don't you respond? He clearly looks like he is said. Ida fixed his glasses position at his nose bridge to confirm if he see it right. I have my own reasons. Katsuki then stomped towards the four of them angrily. Is it because I didn't call you like you wanted? Is that why, huh? Izuku raised one of his hand in defense to protect his brother from Katsuki, tried to calm him down. Keikaken. No need to be mad at a Nikki dash. Just shut up, Deku. I'm not talking to you. Katsuki, who already has his eyes in upside-down triangle shape, shouted at Izuku and the younger twin just mumbling, sorry. Knowing that this won't be going anywhere if he didn't do it, Katsuki clenched his fist in frustration and gritted his teeth. He opened his mouth, preparing for the outcome. No one will remember this, right? He just hoped they won't. No, he hoped that it didn't make everyone making fun of him if he did. What choice do he have? He need to talk with Wain. Just turn around and look at me already. Nikki. Izuku, Ida, and Achiko were dumbfounded by the nickname because that was the same nickname Izuku always call Wain, Nikki dash? And just that simple word, the nickname being left from his mouth, Wain, turned his head to face Katsuki with his evil grin. Wain went to somewhere else with Katsuki, telling Izuku that he can go back first with his new friends. Right now, the two of them were at the park where they used to play together when they were young. Wain kicked a rock near him. He then turned to his back to look at Katsuki. So? What do you want from me, Kaken? Katsuki, who was staring at the green-haired male the whole time, spoke. You knew about it, right? About what? Stop being dumb with me. I'm talking about Deku, obviously. What was that all about, huh? Wain already knew Katsuki wanted to talk about Izuku's sudden quirk. To think that he confront Wain instead of Izuku himself. It's kind of like him since Katsuki didn't get along with his twin brother for some reason. It's something that even Wain couldn't even understand the spiky blonde-haired guy here. But of course, a secret is a secret. Wain already promised that to All Might and Izuku. Kaken. You should ask Aizu yourself. It's not my place to tell you about it, he simply said. Katsuki didn't push Wain further to answer him. He knew Wain for years. If the male doesn't want to spill anything from his mouth, then it's no use forcing him no matter how you try. There was one time Katsuki forced him to say by threatening him that he will explode Izuku only for him to get hospitalized. He just sighed, scratching his hair in frustration. Fine. But you don't want to talk about it, I get it. It's not the reason why I want to see you anyway. Oh, now that is a surprise. Didn't expect that. He paused for a moment. His annoyed face turned into his normal expression. During that test, you seemed to be upset after that teacher talked nonsense to you. Wain smiled at Katsuki sadly. You notice, huh? Katsuki snorted to his side. Of course, I did, dumb. I've known you for effing years. Wain furrowed his eyebrows. Is that so? But Aizu didn't notice at all. He then smirked at Katsuki in attempt to teasing him. Don't tell me. You've been watching me all the time, Kaken? I never knew. You could have just tell me. Don't try to change the topic. Just tell me already. Katsuki was said, flustered even. It's not because he was mad. Not because, Wine tried to avoid the question, but the fact that what the male said is not entirely wrong. Not that he will admit it. Wine then stared at his hand, the lift just above to his chest, as if trying to search for the mistake that he did at the past. Kaken, am I really being an overprotective brother? Dimon, you're right. You're like his 24 hours bodyguard. Katsuki didn't bother to said. He understand what Fine felt, but sometimes he need to tell him what Wine should know. He didn't hear any response from Wine, so he continue, it's not wrong to care for that brat. But you should just let him be by himself. That shitty nerd can take care of his, but although he is a useless weakling. To his surprise, Wine felt a hand suddenly grabbed him by his uniform collar and pulled, Wine, in front of Katsuki's said face. He heard Katsuki said, so stop putting that sour face, it doesn't suits your stupid face. You hear me? Wine laughed, making the ash blonde twitched his eyes in annoyance, kind of. Katsuki paused his movement because of that, but his hands still stay at the green-haired male's collar, though he had distanced both of them a bit. Usually the older Midoriya twin would spat the same anger or energy to Katsuki whenever Katsuki did this, but today, Wine just, yeah, I hear you. By the way, Kaken, you've been avoiding calling me Nate. The green-haired male teased out of nowhere. The blonde-haired male then shoved Wine to his side as he released Wine's collar from his hold. Like hell, I wanted to call you that, dumbass. It's almost afternoon, and for the next class, Izuku were chatting with Uraraka and Ida at his seat while Wine was busy jotting down his notes about all of his classmates' information. He took a note about their strength and weakness and what could they improve from the past quirk assessment test. Of course, he was mumbling to himself as well. Then, two of his classmates approached to his desk. Whoa, is that me? You write some notes about me? Wine stopped writing and turned his focus to his front to see a male that had blonde hair with black lighting-shaped streak and another short male with weird hairstyle from his opinion. Yeah. I hope you don't mind. No, I don't. Can I see? Wine lending the book to the taller guy. The male bending down his knees a bit to make the other take a look as well. Each page of the notebook just made them amazed by the well-written information, and there even some of them that they didn't know. You even know everyone's full name. But I guess I will introduce myself anyway. My name is Kaminari Denki, nice to meet you, YN. He started. The short male also introduced himself. I'm Mineta Minoru. Say. YN have a wild guess that he will ask him some weird question. Well, based on his notes which saying that his weakness is females. Why don't you take note about their 3 sizes too? Klein lift one of his eyebrows. 3 sizes? Why should I add that? Is it important? The two of them made a dramatic gasp as if what the green-haired male respond was something that is not normal. It sounded like the world has come to its end for them. They went close to him by resting their arms on Lion's shoulder so that they can whisper secretly with their creepy widened eyes. You don't know. What kind of man are you even? Kaminari stared at him. One of his hands were twitching like trying to hold himself. That is the most important aspect for every man. Mineta stated. Both of them turned to whisper to each other for some time before they turned back to Yn. Kaminari and Mineta put their hand to his shoulder, having a face like a teacher need to discipline their student. Yn, my man. We don't have a choice but to enlighten you. Kaminari. Mineta made a thumbs up. Just leave everything to us and follow our lead. Yn, just sweat dropped, smiles awkwardly. Okay, I guess. The whole class went silent when they heard the bang sound of the door. All of them put their attention to the front door. I am coming through the door like a normal person. All Might declared with his signature smile. He said it like he's been destroying the door before or entering through window or something. I teach hero basic training. It's a subject where you train in different ways to learn basics of being a heroes. You'll take the most units of this subject. Let's get right into it. All Might told them about what they will do for the first lesson and brought out their costumes that is based on their quirk registration and their requests. The students then went to changing room along with their costumes. Wine glances at his brother to see him changing to the costume that their mother made specially for Izuku. 3 weeks ago. The twins were at the living room, sitting on the couch with few papers scattered around the table. There were the registration forms, infos about their quirk, and also their costume design. They were currently discussing about their hero costume. I need to go to City Hall to get my quirk registration for the clothing allowance. But I'm already registered as none. Sai, what should I do, Aniki? Izuku looking up from his form. You don't know Aizu? You can actually update about your quirk. Wyan stated, which made Izuku surprise. Really? Aizu. When we were young, I registered my quirk, Fire Breathe. But then 4 months later, I have telekinesis. That's why we went to City Hall again to update for my quirk. You don't remember? Izuku just laughed awkwardly while the other sighed. I'm home. Their mother came back. The sound of her footsteps sounded like she was walking a bit faster than usual. They then saw her entering the living room while searching for something in her bag. Hey, Izuku. Inko then took out a green suit with a smile on her face. Congrats on getting into you. I might have jumped to conclusions though. Izuku stood up from the couch when he saw the suit that looks familiar to him. Inko explained that she made it based on the design that Izuku drew on his book. She saw it when Izuku was asleep on his desk with that book left open. She also apologized to him for not being a good mother for him and that she gave up on him when she knew her younger son was quirkless. She then told Izuku that she will start to support Izuku with everything she can. Oh, YN. I also thought to make yours, but I don't know what kind of design that you want. You can have me take a look and dash. It's okay. I can just wear the one that the school will give to me. YN protests. Inko looked at the older twin with a bit of guilt on her face. YN noticed it, so he tried to assure her that he's fine. He actually really didn't mind about it since his ideal costume need to use special material. Seriously, I'm okay. Oh wow. They really made it just like I wanted to. YN thought. After he finished changing, he turned a bit side to side and checked the costume. The costume that he designed was almost the same as Izuku's design when they were discussing together. Since they still hold their dream of becoming the legendary twin heroes, they thought that it would be more make sense if they have similar costume. Basically, YN costume is more like Izuku's latest hero costume design in later part of the series. The most obvious difference between them is the color. While Izuku had a light green one, YN had the darker green, a very dark one. The lines are the same pattern, but YN had it black. His costume is sleeveless, which showing his muscle arms. He had a pair of black boot-like shoes that reach to his knees. He wears a pair of tight black gloves that only covers his hand and a red belt with few pouches that contains small sharp weapons. As for the mask, it's made of metal at the outside, few holes on it, and some materials that able for him to breathe out the flame without having a trouble of the heat while he wears it. YN took a peek of his pouch and saw some weapons that he didn't even ask for, few mini knives much to his convenience. I didn't ask for this, but oh well. Approved by his appearance, he turned to Izuku, who facing his back at him. Aizu, are you done? Izuku flinched a bit before he turned. Why yeah. The one that Izuku wears was his old design when he was still young, so, YN was almost burst out laughing when he saw a pair of long ears head mask that looks like All Might's front hair and the lower mask represents as his wide grin. Oh my goodness. It's too obvious. He has a higher level of All Might's fan than mine. All Might opened a small piece of paper that contains a script-like instruction. The situation is that the villains have a nuclear weapon somewhere in their hideout. The heroes are trying to dispose of that. The heroes need to catch the villain or get the nuclear weapon back in the allotted time. The villains need to protect the nuclear for the whole time or catch the heroes. Teams and opponents will be determined by drawing lots. When it was his turn, he took out a card that wrote a letter D. He glanced at Izuku to see he got the. Remembering what Aizawa and Katsuki told him the other day, he thought it's best that they are not in the same team. He should let his brother to be more independent. So you're the same team as me. Katsuki appeared beside YN, out of nowhere much to the green-haired male's surprise. YN looked to Katsuki's card that he hold. Oh really? But since our class have odd number, there must be a team with 3 people. I won dash. I got Team D. Now who would be my comrade for this training? Ida raised his hand up high, obtain all of the class attention. Katsuki and Wine, avoiding themselves from being noticed. Never mind. We already found one. The first team to fight will be these guys. All Might exclaimed as he showed Team A will be go against Team D. Team A will be the heroes and Team D will be the villains. Izuku was surprised to see that he would have the training battle against his own twin brother and also his childhood friend. He glanced towards where Katsuki and Wine was talking to Ida about the training. Isn't it a bit unfair for us to have 3 people? Ida asked to Wine, and he looked like he wanted to confront All Might about this unbalanced team member numbers, but the green-haired male halted him. If we apply this with real events, numbers aren't actually always the main factor of who wins and loses. It depends on strategy and how you adapt. Wine explained to the armored male, which made the other nodded earnestly. I see. Yue is always multiple steps ahead. Izuku was laughing awkwardly at how Ida is, but then he saw Katsuki actually staring at him with his silent glare. This made Izuku realize that his opponent for this training are the 2 people he had to be careful with. I'm going up against Kaken and Aniki. The younger Midoriya twin clenched his fist in attempt to hide his shaking feeling as he then bravely looked at Katsuki, which made the blonde gritted his teeth. Now, Kaken. Stop glaring at Izuku, we need to go inside. The other green-haired male pushed Katsuki playfully. I know. You don't need to push me. But Katsuki still let him push his back anyway. All Might instructed the villain team to go into the building first for set everything up. Young Bakugo, young Ida, another young Midoriya, learned to think from the perspective of the villains. This is pretty close to real battle. Go all out, don't be afraid of getting hurt, their teacher advised. Another young Midoriya? Ida confused, but then he understood. Katsuki just glanced at the said male. Fine, just shrugged. Well, if he wanted to call me that way, I don't mind. At the top of the floor where the nuclear is located, the 3 of them gathered near the fake weapon. Ida knocked the nuclear. Katsuki was still in his own thoughts and looked like he was in his thoughts while looking the surrounding. Even if this is training, it pains me to become a villain. Ida sighed, knocking the supposed weapon they need to protect. Wyan went to Ida and patted his back. Don't be like that, Ida. Since we're a fake villain, we can act as much evil as we want. Only for this training, we need to show them what we can do. That's what a hero will do as well. Ida maybe seemed like a person who always follow rules and everything. But if we just bend that a bit, apply a bit hero and justice stuff, he will dash. You're right, Wyan. I will do it. Ida agreed. Bingo. Smiled at him. Great. Now, all you need to do is act like a villain, protect this dash, he knocked the nuclear, and follow my plan. Ida was now curious of it. What's the plan? He then whispered to Ida about their plan while Ida just nodded for each of the process. Wine didn't bother to tell Katsuki to hear the plan since he had expected that Katsuki had this conflict with Izuku, which actually took Wine quite some time to actually figure out as to why his childhood friend behaves as he is with the younger twin and not the older twin. When they finished, Wine turned to Katsuki to see him rambling about his twin being lying and making fun of him. Wine sighed, knowing that with Katsuki being like this, the plan will be at a huge risk. Then again, nothing comes without a risk. It's either he still be soft for Izuku and let his twin win, or he has to let him being independent for himself and go all out to move forward. Besides, like All Might said Hey Kaken, he called. The ash blonde turned to him with anger all over his face. Huh? You want to have a talk with Aizu, right? Katsuki was stared at for a moment, thinking just why would he say that at this time. He knew Katsuki and that nerd aren't getting along very well at all, so why? It's not like they can have a nice talk. But wait, he must be joking, right? But seeing Wine, confident expression like he somehow know what Katsuki is thinking and not planning to stop him tells him otherwise. Katsuki wasn't sure as to why this older twin allow him to, but he didn't care. A creepy evil smile started to form on Katsuki's face. I need to think from the perspective of villains. Izuku and Uraraka were currently outside waiting for their teacher to tell them to go inside the building. Uraraka was glad that there won't be any expulsion for this training and felt calm because of that. She turned to see her team partner shaking nervously. You're not relaxed at all. Izuku, who is still reading the building blueprint, feared for what could happen during this exercise. Well, it's because we're fighting against Kaken, Idakuin, and there's Aniki. So I feel like I need to be on guard. Uraraka looked worryingly for Izuku, but isn't Kuin your brother? And you both seem so close, so there shouldn't be any problem, right? We are. Izuku said, remembering how kind his older brother is when they were young despite him being quirkless. Then the memories turned into pinpointing things that even Izuku didn't even think of when they were discussing about heroes that they wrote in their notebook. Don't you think it's weird? Younger Midoriya, asked his little twin brother as they were watching the news where All Might managed to beat the villain. Izuku tilted his head to the side in confusion. What's weird, Aniki? Usually, All Might's supposed to be able to just chase down for only 3 to 5 seconds from that mall to that school building. But this one, it took him almost 14 seconds to catch the villain within the same distance. The older twin thought for a while staring at the television before he shrugged his shoulder. Maybe I miscalculated it. It turns out, was right when Izuku watched the old news and compared with the ones they watched when Izuku was in his own room. Of course, Izuku wrote this down in his notebook and wrote, for the reason. But I can't put my guard down around Aniki either way. And I bet Aniki would be serious too. The brunette girl beside him stared at Izuku. She remembered how the older twin would literally protect Izuku, especially that time during Aizawa's class, which is why she thought that the wouldn't let Izuku getting hurt or something like that. Though she saw, had talked to Izuku right before he and his villain teammates walked into the building. Do your best, Izuku, 'cause I won't go easy on you this time. The older twin said with a little confident smile to the younger twin. But that's why I don't want to lose. Izuku said, putting on his mask. Now, let's start the indoor person-to-person combat training with Team A and Team D. All Might announced. The hero team entered the building, starting to search for the way through the maze-like building. Izuku told Uraraka that they need to be alert since they could be attacked anywhere. With his condition, certainly Izuku could not use one for all recklessly. It will cause a serious damage to him and others. So Izuku thought that it would be best to use Uraraka's zero gravity and his brain. He needs to think this through and find any possibility if he want to win. As they was about to take another turn, Katsuki suddenly appeared from the way and blast the two of them with his explosion. Izuku managed to catch Uraraka, but he gets the hit, causing half of his mask burned off. Katsuki glared the two of them, especially Izuku, with his murderous expression. Come on, Deku. Don't dodge. I figured you'd come for me first. Izuku said. He was about to stand only for Katsuki to blast him once again. Then, a green silhouette came in front of him, catching Izuku in its arms as they went a bit far than Katsuki. Izuku hissed from the pain while rubbing the back of his head. He opened his eyes to see, was on top of him. Aizu, are you alright? Aniki. Oi, Kaken. You can't just hurting my brother like that. Izuku smiled gladly that his brother saved him from Katsuki. Thanks, Ani. He suddenly felt both of his hands being grabbed by a strong hand. He then saw his brother gave him an eerily smile. Just kidding. He saw was about to directing the knife that he hold out from his pouch towards him, so Izuku kicked and jumped backwards. He stared at his brother in disbelief. He tricked me. I almost forgot that he is the villain. Quick reflex, Aizu. I would love to have one-on-one fight with you, honestly. But then use his telekinesis to bring Katsuki to attack Izuku by controlling his grenade gloves, since the glove is large enough to carry him. Katsuki was ready to aim at him with his explosion. Izuku barely managed to dodge Katsuki's first attack, but then, grabbed his twin's wrist and lunged him towards Katsuki. The blonde-haired male then smirked while making another blast on Izuku, causing the younger twin to flew backwards few meters away from the impact. Deku-kun! Uraraka shouted. The other twin, who is not injured, glanced at the blonde male with a little disapprove on his face. Kaken. Try not to hurt Aizu too much, or All Might Sensei would stop this training. I won't do so much damage that this fight gets stopped, but I'm gonna get close. Katsuki exclaimed eagerly, walking towards Izuku. Uraraka-san. Just go! Izuku shouted at the back as he tried to get up. The brown-haired girl didn't say anything, she just ran away and went to find the nuclear. Lion followed her, leaving the two of childhood friends to settle things between them. Since Uraraka would obviously went to the highest floor, Wine walked casually towards the same direction. He then heard Ida tried to contact his teammates. Give me your status. Ida started. Just shut up and defend. I'm really angry right now. Katsuki shouted. Well, that was expected. I'm not asking about how you feel. Ida exclaimed in concern. Everything's under control, Ida. Just guard the weapon as we planned. The gravity girl is on her way. Wine said to Ida. So just let yourself be evil, okay, Ida? Ida heard he said. Ida then took a deep breath and let it out slowly, trying to remember how Wine demonstrate to act like a villain. Wine had told him that they need to be in character, as villains in this case. With the green-haired male even took a deep breath as if trying to gather the evilness and then showing Ida his terrifying expression that looks too real for a villain. Wine even demonstrated his villain-like chuckle that he had honed for years ever since he was young. Those naive heroes wouldn't know what they're facing against. Ida could feel his spine shivering just from seeing how Wine suddenly change his behavior like a villain. You're really good at this, Wine-kun. Truly admirable. Wine changed back to his usual self and laughed a bit. Well, that's because I have always roleplay with Aizu when we were kids. You should try that, Ida. So Ida tried to do the same when he had felt like the dark aura is enough. He then shouted to himself, be dyed with evil in order to become a hero. He then tried to make a terrifying villain face but ended up look like a creepy maniac. I am extremely evil. Wahaha. Uraraka, who already arrived not long ago, burst out from holding her laugh, which made Ida noticed her from her hiding spot. You have arrived, Uraraka. The said girl came out awkwardly. I know about your quirk. So I already put all of the objects behind me and now you can't use them to attack me. Didn't see that coming, did you? Ida continued to laugh like a villain. He's really into character. Uraraka sweat dropped while looking at Ida. She contacted Izuku to tell the location of the nuclear as she tried to get away from Ida. Then suddenly, the building is shaking from a huge impact from the below floor, which made Ida almost fell but managed to stable himself. Ida then tried to contact Katsuki, asking him if the cause is done by him, but he didn't receive any response from the blonde male. Uraraka took this as her chance to retrieve the count of that nuclear. She floated herself towards the nuclear that covered with blanket. But then suddenly, some of the objects that appeared from the hiding spot that Ida had placed started to float as well. But she didn't even touch them. So how they are floating? And they went towards her, causing the girl to try to avoid those objects, and since she had unlocked her gravity quirk, she fell to the ground ungracefully. Ouch! She heard footsteps that slowly went towards her. Uraraka opened her eyes and looked up to see the green-haired male smiling at her. Pretty bad landing, wouldn't you say? Uraraka immediately went far away from Wine, so that he won't be able to catch her. Wine walked backwards towards Ida and stood in front of the nuclear to defend it as well. Your quirk is futile if you can't touch it. Ida proudly said while Wine crossed his arms and gave Uraraka a smug. The time almost runs out, too bad for you, hero. Both of them then proceed to make their villain-like laugh. Uraraka just stared at them in annoying frustration, not only because she couldn't manage to retrieve the weapon but also because her opponents literally looked like they're being too into character. It wasn't long until Uraraka heard Izuku contacted her to tell her the plan and she complied it. So she just wait for Izuku to strike when the time comes. She held the nearest pillar. Then, the floor suddenly been blasted by a strong force from below. The villains were distracted and Uraraka used her zero gravity to reduce the weight of the pillar, use it as a bat to send the remnants of the building towards the men. Improvised special move. Comet home run. That is not a home run. Ida exclaimed as he shielded himself from the attack. Wine used his quirk to halt them, but he couldn't manage to prevent the brown-haired girl. She released her quirk as she landed on the weapon. Retrieved. She sighed in relief. No. The weapon. Both of the villains exclaimed in horror. Suddenly, Uraraka felt the blanket moved. She blinked for a moment before she turned to the villains that held a smirk. She then realized, but it was too late. Is what we planned to say, Wyan said as he trapped Uraraka by covering her with the blanket. The blanket revealed some random objects that already been built to make it as a disguise of the nuclear. Her eyes widened. What's T then? Where's the real one? After Ida tied her with the rope that is used to indicate their capture, Wyan showed her the weapon behind him that is completely well hidden. Katsuki was shouting at Izuku that he was underestimating him after that tremendous attack from Izuku. When the smoke cleared, Katsuki saw him and his both injured arms. One because of his own quirk and the other from Katsuki's attack. I can't use it. Because my body can't handle the impact. Aizawa-sensei said so too. But this was all I could think of. Izuku said, making Katsuki speechless. He was too shocked to notice Izuku started to lose his balance on his legs. The green-haired male was about to hit to the ground, but he didn't reach there as the other male that resembles him catch him in his arms in time. Aoniki. His twin brother stared at Izuku. Seeing his damaged state made him feel regret for what he did. He was sure that Izuku wouldn't use all for one just for a mere training and predicted that his younger brother would only use his knowledge from his analysis of Katsuki. He overlooked that possibility. He still held the white rope, intent to use it to capture Izuku. He wanted to win, he badly wanted. Securing the fake weapon wasn't enough for him actually, not enough to show his victory. That's why he jumped down from the 5th floor to meet them. He was planning to catch Izuku the moment the time only remained less than 1 minute, but when he saw Izuku almost fell, he immediately forgot about it. His bangs covered his eyes, which made Izuku can't see his eyes that filled with guilt. He said something to Izuku, but he couldn't catch what his brother said as he slowly drifted to darkness. Team Villain wins. Why don't you try to stop him, All Might? Recovery Girl was mad when she saw Izuku's injury. She currently scolding the number 1 hero who right now in his real form. All Might apologized to the heel hero and told her that he was consider Izuku's feelings and he didn't have the urge to stop them. While the adults talking to each other, Wyan just watching his unconscious brother laying down on the bed while holding his hand. The teacher gave Wyan the permission to stay there until his brother wake up. He scratched his hair in frustration. What was I thinking? How can I not expect Aizu to use the quirk? I guess I trust him too much to think he wouldn't be reckless. He has always been. All Might put his hand on his shoulder, earning the boy's attention. Another young Midoriya. You don't have to feel bad. It's not your fault. No, it was my fault. I should have known he would use all for one. With Kaken being that aggressive, he will have no other choice but to use it to win. All Might didn't say after that. From All Might's observation, he had saw how Wyan had purposely let Katsuki fighting against Izuku, knowing how both of them fighting each other would distract Izuku a bit from being able to win for the training battle. All Might thought that saying any kind of encouragement would only just down him more, so he decided to tell Wyan that Izuku would be alright. He then left the twins alone. It's already evening and Izuku still not wake up. Wyan already dozed off for few hours and he woke up when his phone vibrate. It was just an alarm. He stood up and walked to the side of the bed, rubbing his sleepy eyes. Come on, Aizu. Just wake up already. Shouldn't you wake up by now? He said in his mind. Surprisingly, Izuku's eyes started to open, which made Wyan blinked for a moment to see if he was seeing illusion or something. Much to his joy, Izuku finally wake up. Is this what they call twins' mind communication? Aniki? Where am I? You're at infirmary. Recovery Girl said that we can go home when you woke up. Izuku tried to lift himself up with his brother helping him. When he managed to sit, he turned to his brother. I lost, aren't I? Yeah. Aizu. I'm so sorry for making you like this. I knew it, but I didn't thought that you will hurt like dash. Aniki, it's not your fault. You're just smarter than me. If I could think more clearly like you, I would find another way to win. Izuku glanced at Wyan, tried to change the topic to lighten up the mood, but seriously, Aniki. Your villain acting skills are awesome. I thought I saw a real villain back there. Well, Kaken does have that too. Wyan chuckled at his brother's attempt to make him better, but he just get along with it. Kaken is like a hero in villain disguise. Speaking of Kaken, I should go and see him. Izuku suddenly remembered. He then get out of his bed and went out of the infirmary. Honestly, kids these days, they didn't even take a good care of themselves. Recovery girl appeared beside Wyan. She lend Wyan a plastic that contains a few of medicine. Please give this to your brother and tell him to come again tomorrow. I will. Thank you very much. Aizu, can I just strangle these BSTS? Izuku flinched when he heard those words came out of his brother's mouth. Let's not do that, Aniki. He doesn't seem to be in a good mood at all. He was already upset by waking up early in the morning. Izuku told him not to go with him early since Izuku have to go and see Recovery Girl, but Wyan wanted to tag along. He still felt bad for Izuku, so he wanted to make it up to him. Unfortunately, unlike Izuku, this older twin is not a morning person. And now these mass of annoying media crowding the front gate of UA were getting on their way. They asked most of the students and staff of UA who are passing through the entrance gate questions about All Might as the teacher of UA. Some of the students just ignore them. Wyan was about to do the same, but when he saw his brother was panicking to answer and not to mention one of them accidentally hit his injured arm, of course he would be furious. His eyes twitched in annoyance. One of the press, a lady with ponytail, held the microphone towards the twins. Tell us about All Me Dash. Then her microphone suddenly flew out of her hand and it then fell to the ground, in which the older twin stomped on it, causing it to be crashed. The others who saw it trembling at the sight. Wyan, without waiting for anything, grabbing Izuku and went to the nurse office. During homeroom, Aizawa made a briefing about their previous hero training. He told Katsuki to not act immature. As for Izuku, he advised him to fix his quirk control issue if he wanted to improve himself. The eraser hero then glanced at the older Midoriya twin. Midoriya, YN. You had stay to your role during the training and not backing up your brother who is also your opponent. That's an improvement. Wyan didn't expect Aizawa to give him a compliment, but the teacher's words made Wyan remind himself that he can't always protect his little brother anymore, since he and Izuku are now in UA and wanted to aim to be the best heroes. Now let's get down to homeroom business. Sorry about the late notice, but today I'll have you. Everyone was waiting for his next word, focusing their attention to their teacher, thinking that there might be another torturing test to expel one of their students or something like that. Decide on a class representative. The whole class sighed in relief. Almost everyone raised up their hands to volunteer themselves to become the representative. They even claimed that they are worthy of holding the position. Some of them even tell their manifesto. It must be because it's a role that allows them to practice being a top hero by leading people. Wyan didn't raise his hands though. The reason is because he would prefer to not become anything that has to do with handling a group of students. Obviously, the responsibilities as the president of the class should not be taken lightly, and the president themselves also would be the first person the teacher would look for in most of situations. Compared to me, Aizu would be a better president. Then again, Ida has dash. Silence, please. His thoughts were interrupted by Ida's loud voice. Ida told the rest of the class that the position is a serious responsibility of leading the others and that they must not recklessly decide their leader. So he made a suggestion that they should hold an election to choose the representative, since it was decided based on the trust of others. Everyone eventually agreed to do so. After they finished the voting, the whole class see the result on the board. What in the actual dash? Pine was about to curse under his mouth, but he prevented himself from saying it. I got 3 votes? Izuku exclaimed. He could not believe what he just saw at the board. Midoriya Izuku 3. Midoriya, Wyan, 3. The power of the twins. They even managed to have the same votes. The whole class thought. Katsuki was obviously not satisfied with Izuku getting the votes. Ida was clenching his fist in frustration, trying to accept the fact that he didn't have anyone voting him. Since both of you have the same votes, you can decide who would be the class rep and the deputy class rep, Aizawa stated. Seriously? Seriously? Izuku said to himself. The twins stood up from their seat and now standing in front of the class. The whole class just stared at them. Izuku was trembling the whole time while Wyan just sighed heavily at the situation he is currently in. Sigh, I can't believe Aniki had decided himself that I would be the class president. Izuku said, not even touching his lunch meal. Uraraka, who sat in front of him, took a bite before she spoke. Isn't that all right? Kun seemed to trust you very much, Dekun. Besides, Kun even said dash. The brunette girl even made a not-so-serious expression back during their homeroom session. Aizu. This Aniki shall bestow the president title to you. I believe you can carry this on your shoulder, unlike your careless Aniki here. Which he clearly is not. Kun would be a great president if he takes it seriously. Ida said with straight face. Speaking of Kun, where is he, Deku-kun? Aren't you guys always have lunch together? Izuku, who didn't touch his meal, finally have some mood to eat some, chewing the food before he swallow it. He said that he wants to take a short nap because he woke up early this morning. He laughed awkwardly, remembering disturbed face when he get out of his bed. Well, actually, he didn't take a nap at all. Currently walking at the school's corridor while writing the information, he mumbling to himself on his villain analysis notebook. Based on the news, these two criminals are actually cousins and both of them apparently have the same kind of quirk. They can avoid the surveillance by changing their body into liquid-like. Interesting. If they can turn into that extent, can they literally become like a water? I wonder how the authorities actually imprison them? In a bottle dash. Then laughed quietly to himself. Wait, that actually sounds so pitiful dash. Suddenly, the sound of the alarm can be heard at the entire school, which disrupt from his analysis moment. There has been a level 3 security breach. All students please evacuate outdoors promptly. But what now? If it's about the level 3 security, then there's intruder near the school gates. S instincts pulled his gaze toward the massive, window-like wall beside the corridor. From this vantage point, the school's outer gates were clearly visible. He then saw the medias from this morning swarming past the barrier. At the front lines, Eraserhead blocking the press and avoiding answer their questions, while Present Mike shouted furiously for them to retreat. How did the press manage to get past through that? He thought to himself before he met with a sight that caused his heart to stop for a beat. The once seamless main gate at the entrance was gone, not shattered, not cracked, but disintegrated, as if it had never been there at all, and the only remaining are its dusts on the ground. From what could deduct from this morning, the media people would not have ability to do something like that. The press already surround UA for 2 days already. If they could bypass the barrier, they would have done it immediately. So why now? This isn't coincidence. The breach was already being broadcast, which meant everyone knew. Civilians. Villains. His pupils shrank at the realization. He had a bad feeling when he thought of it. Without wasting any time, sprinted towards the information department. His notebook was hidden inside his jacket, pressed close to his chest like a secret heartbeat. If my guess is right, they must be aiming to have the information first. Could guess what kind of possible data their student profiles that also include their quirks, security infrastructure, teacher schedules, and others that shouldn't be known to random outsiders. Then he saw a figure stepped out of the restricted room. The man's pale blue hair hung messily around his face, not wearing a student uniform nor dressed like staff. His posture was loose, lazy, as if he had nowhere urgent to be. Forced his voice steady. Hey, you there? You're not from this school, are you? The male with pale blue hair paused and turned to face He scratched his neck in annoyance as he muttering to himself, irritated rather than alarmed, a brat, huh? Since Why? Doesn't have any weapon with him, he need to depend on his martial arts. He can't let them know about his quirk, that will be too risky. You shouldn't be here, said, planting his feet while staring at the other man. The man's lips twitched into something close to amusement. You're calm, he observed. That either means you're brave. Or just stupid. In the blink of an eye, fingers already grabbed around Fine's throat. For pressed against his skin with the fifth hovered dangerously close. The green-haired male immediately noticed this difference compared to how normal people would. Only one finger lifted. Yin's breath hitched. This person might be the same villain I heard. The green-haired male didn't dare to make any move, it wasn't a good idea to do so. He had to find a way to... You didn't resist. And you were staring at my hand just now. Do you know about my quirk? The man asked. Yin finally get to see his face. He had to remember the details so he could draw him in his notebook. If he managed to get out of this alive, of course. Yin's heartbeat thundered in his ears, probably decaying anything if you touch with all of your 5 fingers in contact. Smart one. His voice somehow sounds more excited rather than threatening. That information isn't public. So why do you know it? Yin narrowed his eyes, trying to be careful with his actions so that he wouldn't become like the main gate at the UA entrance. I only know about it from rumors. Didn't expect it to be true, he answered. The rumor part is true, but Yin didn't say the part that he actually gathered various of news and eavesdropped from villains that he saw at the street about a man with a decay quirk. The stress of being in pressuring situation had caused a faint sparks of flame escaped Yin's lips, his quirk reacting to his distress without his permission. Oh damn it! Why is my quirk betraying me? The man noticed instantly and his interest sharpened. Oh? So it really is you. Midoriya, Yin, the top student from the entrance exam. Yin's stomach dropped when the person mentioned his name and even knew who he is in UA, which meant that this person might also knew about his quirk, totally not a good sign. There are 2 of you. I had a hard time figuring out which one you were. The man mused as he slowly loosened his hold on Yin's neck, eventually put his hand down. Air rushed into Yin's lungs in a sharp gasp, but he didn't dare to move. His body relaxed a bit but still stiff, every muscle taut with caution. His heartbeat thundered in his ears, drowning out the distant chaos of evacuation alarms and shouting students. You shouldn't know my name, Yin said quietly, forcing steadiness into his voice despite the anxiety pooling in his chest. The man chuckled at that, a dry though almost amused sound. I have reasons for that. And UA keeps very detailed records, especially your entrance exam. It was impressive. Intelligence like yours always leaves an impression. Yin's jaw tightened. So they had been watching him. The man's red eyes slid over him with a strange, assessing glint. You know, he continued casually, heroes don't actually like smart people as much as they pretend to. Yin's brows furrowed. What are you talking about? They like predictable strength, the man said calmly. People who punch hard. People who follow orders. People whose power can be pointed in a direction and unleashed. He tilted his head. But people like you, he went on. Too clever. Too analytical. Too aware. A powerful quirk and a mind that thinks for itself. A faint, twisted smile curved his lips. To them, that's not an asset, he said. That's a potential problem. Yin's chest tightened at the words, an uneasy chill creeping up his spine. They'll call it guidance. Supervision. Training, the man continued. But really, it's just restraint. Control. Because heroes don't like what they can't fully command. His gaze sharpened on Yin. And someone like you, he said quietly, you're not the type they can leash forever. Yin clenched his fists. You don't know me. Don't I? The man asked softly, his index finger pointed at the notebook that was hidden under Yin's uniform blazer slightly shown, with a bit part of the title, Villain Annalie, can be seen. You already hide things from them. Your thoughts. Your questions. You live among them, but you don't truly belong to it. Yin realized that the man saw his notebook as he hid the notebook back into his uniform blazer in haste, not completely break his eye contact with the pale blue-haired male. Dark mist began to coil behind the man, slow and unnatural, stretching across the hallway like a living shadow. The air warped as the portal started to form. The portal widened further, swallowing the light behind him as the hallway grew dim. The man took a step backward toward it, but his gaze never left Wyan. "You know," he said quietly, "you don't belong on their side." Wyan's fists clenched at his sides. "And you assume I belong on the other side?" The man studied him for a long moment, red eyes sharp and unblinking. Then unexpectedly he laughed, almost amused. "Better than those hypocrites," he said. Wyan narrowed his eyes. "I didn't expect to find you inside Yua," the man added almost casually. That was a surprise. His figure began to dissolve into the darkness of the warp. Just before vanishing completely, his gaze sharpened once more. Until then, Midoriya, Yn. And then he was gone. The mist collapsed into nothing, leaving the hallway eerily silent once more. The distant alarms and voices rushed back into Y's awareness all at once. What the heck was that? Yn was skipping the entire class after the lunch break. He felt like he needed some space to think about his encounter with that person he assumed a villain. He spent his time sitting down at the rooftop of the school building watching the sky. That's where most of MCs always have their own time, right? He drew the villain he just encountered on his villain analysis notes from his memory and wrote few informations he had gathered just from looking at the person's appearance. He looks like around 20 years old. Though if his hair was actually gray-white, I would have assumed he might be in his 40s. His dry mouth makes him look old honestly. Why? Mumbled, actually slandering a bit about the villain. His neck looked like he had been scratching many times. I wonder why. He thought for a while but then just shrugged, probably just eczema or something. He gets up from the ground, noticing that the school almost over. He went downstairs and walked to the school gates while texting to his brother that he will go home by himself. Hey, Yn. Wait. The green-haired male turned to his back to see Kirishima waved at him and Katsuki who walked next to him with his hands in his pocket. Kirishima. Kaken. What's up? You skipped the whole class. We were worried about you, you didn't show up after the ruckus at lunch. Kirishima, although he looks energetic, Yn, can feel that he's worried. Oh yeah, I was taking a nap. And when I woke up, it's already evening. He put his hand at the back of his head. He suddenly felt something slapped his whole face. When he put it down, he was holding a book. He looked up to the person who just gave him in the harsh way. Oh dash. These are the notes from the classes that you just missed. You better use it or I kick your smart butt, you got that? Katsuki exclaimed, didn't avoid his gaze to the green-haired male. Yn rubbed his nose that got hit by the book while looking at Katsuki in confusion. Oh, thanks. We're about to go to the new cafe that opened few days ago. I heard their cake is delicious. Wanna come, Yn? Kirishima went near to the green-haired male much to the ash blonde's annoyance. That's weird. Why would Katsuki hang out with Kirishima for a newly open cafe? Usually, he would rather stay at home or maybe go to the park. Perhaps he wanted to be more friendly to people? Possible. The older Midoriya twin nodded to himself before he turned to Kirishima. Sure, why not? Great. I was hoping you say that. Now let's go. The red-haired male fine, close to him by resting his left arm on his shoulder. Yn didn't mind that much actually, but there is a person who do. Katsuki ched and walked beside both of them while glaring at the male on the right of Yn. For some reason, I can feel the tense here. Maybe it's just my imagination. Class 1A third homeroom session, because I believe the previous two was the first day of their school and when they make the vote for the president. At the front of Class 1A stood the Midoriya twins, with Yn, one hand resting lazily on the teacher's desk, posture relaxed, expression calm and composed while his brother, Izuka trying to be calm like the older twin but failed. Behind them, sprawled near the chalkboard, lay Aizawa in his yellow sleeping bag. A single tired eye peeked out, he was listening. Yn cleared his throat lightly. Alright. Homeroom session. Attendance is done, no one's missing, no desks are on fire. Good progress overall. A few students laughed lightly at their vice president's joke, though Katsuki scoffed. Izuku sat beside Wyan, hands clenched at his side with his shoulders stiff. He had been quiet from the start of the homeroom session and looked like he is thinking about something. Wyan noticed his brother's behavior, which is why he did the talking just now. Next dash, Wyan continued, glancing at the paper in his hand, about yesterday's homeroom decision. The room leaned in. As decided, Midoriya Izuku is the class president. Light applause followed. Izuku flinched, shrinking slightly, cheeks burning from the sudden applause for him. And I, Wyan added, tapping the paper once, am the vice president. Congratulations to me, as I have inherited paperwork, expectations, and emotional labor. More laughter rippled through the room. Now we will decide on other class officers dash. Izuku swallowed, and then slowly he raised his hand, which gained Wyan's attention to his little brother. Yn tilted his head to the side. Yes, President? Can I say something before that? Now that had gained everyone's full attention for some reason. Seeing that no one say anything, Izuku continued. Ida Tenya should be our class president. Wyan's eyes widened in surprise by his little twin's sudden declaration. Ida also didn't expect Izuku to say such things, since he assumed Izuku would be perfect as the president, but he didn't say anything and let Izuku continue. He took control during the lunchtime the other day in such a cool way. I think it's right that he become a president. Silence. Wyan had his eyes covered by his bangs, and he staggered back a step in such theatrically emotional act. He pressed a hand to his chest as if struck by an invisible arrow. Oh dash. So that's how it is. Izuku panicked immediately, and oh dash. Aniki. I didn't mean dash. Wyan raised a hand dramatically. No. Speak not. Let me process this betrayal. Kaminari leaned toward Shiro. I think something's wrong with Wyan-kun. Shiro whispered back. Let him cook. My own brother, Wyan went on, voice heavy with wounded poetry, whom I placed gently upon the throne of leadership, whom I supported from the shadows, casts it aside like an unwanted elective. Izuku flailed. That's not what I meant. Wyan turned his back to the class dramatically, shoulders sagging under an invisible weight. I stood here as your shield, he said, voice low and grave. I faced this battlefield of desks and chairs so that you, my brother, would not have to dash. The class collectively sweat dropped. Kaminari whispered, why does this sound like a villain monologue? I believed in you, Aizu. Why? Continued, raising one arm as if addressing a fallen city, I thought. Together we would protect Class 1A. From chaos. From disorder. From the ever-looming threat of unfiled paperwork. Jiro rubbed her temple. He's spiraling. And now dash, Wang said, turning slowly, eyes glistened with fake tears. You cast aside the title. Like a hero abandoning his post. Leaving his trusted ally behind on the battlefield. Izuku waved his arms frantically. It's not like that. I just think dash. Wyan placed a hand over his eyes. Of betrayal. That's what it is, he whispered. Mina leaned toward Achiko. Is he? Okay. Achiko watched the scene in front of her with her awkward smile. I think, Kuin's having fun. Why? Lowered his hand, pointing solemnly toward Izuku. Tell me, Aizu. When a hero lays down his mantle, what happens to the one sworn to stand beside him? Is he a sidekick cast into the shadows? Or a villain born from abandonment? Please don't become a villain. Izuku exclaimed with half-worry already. Bakugu clicked his tongue as his hands sparkled with his quirk. I'd blast him first. Wyan sighed deeply, dragging a hand down his face like a tragic hero betrayed by fate. Truly, betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from family. Izuku looked like he was about to cry. I am really sorry. The class was a mess of awkward coughs and barely contained laughter, everyone watching like he'd suddenly turned the homeroom into a stage. Then just as suddenly the drama evaporated. Exhaled, straightened and turned calm eyes toward Ida, but the shift in his tone snapped everyone's attention back. Aizu is right. The class stilled. Ida does have that eagerness, that rigidity, that I will die for this responsibility look. The older twin shrugged his shoulder a bit. Ida made a short gasp of shock. I don't intend to die. Wyan then looked straight at Ida now with his composed, yet sincere expression, and from what I see, Ida-kun, you stepped up when it mattered. Not because you wanted praise, but because you had to. That eagerness, that sense of duty. It suits the role. Ida stood so abruptly his chair screeched. I don't know if I can live up to such expectations. You already did. Wyan replied simply. A murmur of agreement spread through the room. I'm fine with that too if Izuku and Wa think so. Ida did do the most at the cafeteria. Kirishima started. Kaminari nodded at the redhead statement. Yup. And he practically was the exit sign. Ida trembled, fists clenched at his sides, eyes shining behind his glasses. Izuku, on the other hand, let out a breath he'd been holding, shoulders sagging in relief. From the sleeping bag, Aizawa spoke. Ida, you're president. Ida snapped into a bow so sharp it looked painful. I swear I will serve Class 1A with every fiber of my being. Tone it down, Aizawa muttered. Izuku looked between them, seemed to be relieved but still nervous. He glanced at his older brother. So, you're not mad? Wyan turned his focus at Izuku, then sighed theatrically. Mad? Emotionally wounded? Absolutely. Izuku wilted. I'm sorry. Wyan reached over and pat his little brother's head in attempt to show that he was just joking. Relax, Aizu. You made the right call. The older twin then lifted a single finger, the motion slow, as though he were about to deliver a final verdict to the world. Since that's case, the whole classroom went into a soft silence. That I would like to propose, he continued, his voice noticeably more cautious now, words chosen as though stepping through a minefield, that since my brother has heroically relinquished his position and I have, regrettably, suffered immeasurable emotional devastation. Perhaps I, too, should step down from the role of vice dash. But before Wyan could even finish his sentence, Aizawa's death stare already interrupted him. No, Aizawa stated rigidly. Wyan's shoulders slumped instantly, his raised hand dropping as though gravity had suddenly doubled. That doesn't sound like a suggestion, Aizawa-sensei, he muttered, wounded beyond repair. You're staying, Wyan. Aizawa continued without mercy. You balance Ida. You stop the class from a potential clown disaster. And everyone seems to listen to you. Wyan let out a long-suffering groan as he covered his eyes with his hand. Unbelievable. A tragic destiny. A few quiet laughs broke the tension. Kaminari grinned openly. Man suffering from responsibility. Beside him, Izuku, still standing at the front, watched his brother with soft apologetic eyes. A small smile tugged at his lips, equal parts guilt and fondness. You're going to be a great vice president, a Nikki. Wyan peeked at him through his fingers, eyes narrowed with mock accusation. He sighed, the sound heavy with exaggerated resignation. Fine. But you owe me snacks for this betrayal. Izuku nodding with earnest determination. I'll buy you 2. 3. Wyan corrected immediately. The homeroom session carried on with the selection of the remaining class officers, the earlier chaos settling into a surprisingly smooth rhythm. With Ida standing firm as class president and Wyan beside him as vice president, the process unfolded with little resistance. Ida led with his usual intensity, outlining responsibilities with clarity while Wyan filled in the gaps with calm observations and sharp insights. Whenever questions arose or opinions clashed, Wyan would speak up, not forcefully, but with reasoning that cut straight to the heart of the matter. Each time he did, Ida found himself nodding before he even realized it. By the end of the PRD, Ida no longer questioned those decisions. There was something reassuring in the way Wyan weighed people's strengths, something steady and reliable that balanced his own fervor. Without needing to say it aloud, Ida came to trust Wyan. Not just as a vice president, but as the kind of partner a leader could rely on when making difficult choices. Class 1A fourth homeroom session. The chatter of Class 1A drifted lazily around the room as sunlight filtered through the windows, scattering warm light across desks and notebooks. Some students were reviewing their class notes, others were half asleep, and a few were bickering quietly over snacks. At the center of this mild chaos sat Midoriya, YN, casually spinning a pen between his fingers while leaning back in his chair, one leg crossed over the other. His expression is more to boredom since currently they were supposed to have homeroom session, but Aizawa seemed to have important meeting to attend. Though that boredom soon changed. YN, Kuin. Ida's voice boomed like a human. Foghorn. At the desk beside YN, Izuku jolted upright in at the sudden shout of his brother's name. Ida Kuin dash? YN merely turned his head with a languid grace. Morning, Ida Kuin. You sound motivated. I am, Ida declared, chopping his hand in a blur. It concerns the class roster for duties. Cleaning shifts, homework retrieval, assignment SBMSIS, and the maintenance of our duty board. These tasks must be delegated efficiently to ensure our classroom remains an exemplary environment. A few students subtly leaned closer, sensing entertainment on the horizon. Which is why, YN, Kuin, we have to. Before he could finish, YN raised one hand lazily. I'll do everything. Izuku whipped toward him. Es. Aniki. All of it? Ida's eyes widened and sparkled as if the vice president of Class 1A is a true leader. Your willingness to shoulder responsibility is admirable, YN, Kuin. Truly the spirit of YN's lips twitched in amusement. I'm joking, Ida Kuin. Ida froze, then sputtered violently. Joking? Why, Kuin, such statements must not be made lightly. I momentarily believed. That's the problem. Kaminari whispered loudly from across the aisle. You believe, YN, too much these days, Ida. Zero nodded. Dude could say he's dropping out from being vice president because he hates the work and Ida would be willing to take all of his work dash. I can hear both of you. YN replied smoothly without looking. Both boys straightened immediately. Ida cleared his throat aggressively, adjusting his glasses again. Be back to the topic. Everything must be optimally organized. Behind him, Aoyama sparkled defensively for no reason. Optimally? Sounds stressful. Ida seemed to ignore him as he continued, we must discuss the delegation. I can do that. Pine said in a tone so calm it nearly sounded like apathy. Proper delegation is simply a matter of observing the class. He set his pen down with a soft tap, eyes sweeping the room. Let's begin with cleaning days. Everyone rotates, but tasks are assigned based on personality, efficiency levels, and general chaos potential. The class leaned in unconsciously, wanted to hear what would their vice president is saying about each of them. For sweeping, we'll have Kaminari, Jiro, and Katsuki. Wait me! Kaminari pointed to himself, horrified. Why do I get a broom? YN glanced for a while at Kaminari. You roam around the class enough to be the dust detective. But don't worry, Jiro will catch what you miss. Kaken will clean better than both of you combined. Bakogu snarled. I'll sweep your face off if you say it like I'm some kind of maid. You wiped your room windows until they shined like a hospital ward, Kaken. YN said without blinking. You're good at it. Bakogu froze, unsure whether to explode or agree. 4 moving desks before cleaning, we'll rotate Kirishima, Sato, Shoji, and Tokoyami. Kirishima slapped his chest proudly. That's a very manly job to do. Sato nodded in agreement and said that he can do the lifting. Shoji bowed with quiet acceptance while Tokoyami lowered his head dramatically. Darkness accepts the weight of mortality. I shall lift the burden accordingly. Please don't make lifting a metaphysical crisis. Jiro muttered. For mopping it would be Mina, Tsuyu, and Todoroki. Todoroki blinked once at the duty he had just received. Why am I mopping? YN didn't miss a beat. You can freeze stubborn dirt and melt it. A walking cleaning system. Mina squealed. Yeah. We're gonna be the mop squad. Swish, swish, splash. Tiu nodded with serene acceptance. Rip it, it's suitable. For Windows part, Hagakure and Aoyama. Windows? But what of my shimmering beauty? Aoyama protested. Why? Just gave them a smirk. You'll see streaks better because of your sparkle. Hagakure has steady hands based from how I see and won't smudge. I trust both of you to make the windows shiny better than other classes. Invisible clapping filled the air. I didn't know you noticed that, Wyan, Kuan. Aoyama sparkled triumphantly. Trace bien. For trash duty. Obviously Mineta. Mineta shrieked as if someone stabbed him. Why me? You produce 60% of classroom trash, Wyan said calmly while looking at him with his blank expression. Everyone nodded solemnly. But dash. If you're worried being alone, Shoji will supervise you, Wyan added. Shoji gave a silent, gentle nod. Mineta slowly curled into a ball of despair, mumbling to himself that it could have been okay if Wyan gave him female classmate to supervise him instead. Quirk-specific support roles. Koda and Siro rotate weekly. Koda can call any little animals that have been hanging in the class to remain outside, or possibly insects even. Or better, he can ask animals to help with cleaning. The female students had their eyes somehow brightened, like a Cinderella. Koda, on the other hand, flustered at their claim. Wyan laughed a bit before he continued. Siro can help making sure the tables aligned properly, also tape decorations. And Mineta, if necessary. Me again. Mineta cried. You have quite history, Mineta. Wyan said casually, it's documented. Achiko raised her hand. What about me? Wyan pointed his pen like a wand. You're on heavy-duty assist once a week with me. Float anything heavy like shelves and teacher's desk. Simply make cleaning magically easier for others. Achiko brightened. I can do that. Now for homework SBMSN and retrieval. Momo leads. Momo pressed a hand over her chest modestly. I'm honored. Aiza joins her. Wyan added. Izuku flinched. Huh. Me. People trust you, Aizu. They confess their missing assignments to you, or better yet, those who purposely ruin their homework. They won't run. Izuku turned red. It's not, I mean maybe dash. And instead of Ida, I would supervise everyone's work. This is to make sure Ida not doing a lot of things at one time. Wyan added lazily. Ida collapses when overwhelmed. I dash that I do not dash. You nearly fainted last week because the whiteboard markers were missing. Ida made a chop gesture with his hand. How did you know? You were trembling in the hallway. The room erupted in laughter. Next, the duty board updates. Ida is in charge, obviously, but decorated by Aoyama. A partnership of order and beauty. Aoyama sang dramatically. Pine looked over the entire room with his posture relaxed. These task distribution would work. Everyone contributes and no chaos. Bakugu scoffed. That's optimistic of you. Wyan smiled faintly at Katsuki's. Ida, who had heard everything then, had his fists trembling with passion. Wyan, Kuan. This is organizational genius. Class 1A will thrive under this system. Mina raised her mop like a flag. Let's go mop squayoad. Kirishima clapped Sato on the back. Bro, we're gonna move so many tables. Aoyama twirled. The windows will, hey. Mineta sobbed into Shoji's arm. I don't like this. Sorry to keep you all waiting. I had intense week, so the writing for this chapter is a bit slow. I hope you guys like the story so far.